All right, we're live. I'm not playing it then. Fine. 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 You know Memphis is going to cover now that I did that, don't you?
Mm-hmm. That's why I stayed away from it.
4 college, 1 pro this week. That's sure to go wrong.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floormeister Studios. Floormeisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you on this Football Friday.
Football Friday.
We've got a lot more than that. Oh, the heck are you? Miller and Moulton. MillerandMoulton.com. Miller_Moulton on X. Top of the morning to you, Mark. Could the sports world spread some of this stuff out? I mean, we only have 4 hours.
There's no doubt, David. And I think, I'd like to just send a quick message to the Federal Bureau of Investigation that a Tuesday would be a much better day for us than a Thursday if you're going to give us this kind of information. So, Mr. Patel, I appreciate you giving us this glorious nugget. Well,
Right.
not nugget. That's a 20-pack of nuggets. That's a buffet, for crying out loud. That's Moulton at the Chinese buffet several years ago when he indeed was looked at very discerningly by the owner after going back for plate after plate.
That's me going up the 4th time and then looking at me like, seriously? It's like, well, yeah, you said all you can eat. I'm taking it as a challenge.
And boy, oh boy. I mean, first off, a couple of things. We'll get to football.
Oh, yeah.
When's the last time you remember the FBI having a presser to release information about an arrest of any kind? And I'm being serious, David. You pay a little more attention to news than I do, but I don't recall the FBI having a presser.
I'm trying to think, was it the FBI that had the press conference with the college basketball and the coaches and the payment of players in like 2017, 18? I mean, there was a presser. I'm trying to think, was it just like one of those Southern District of New York pressers, or was the FBI also involved? But so I'm going back at least 7 years before there was this type of presser, but I don't know if it was even at this level.
Right. But I don't recall the head of the FBI having a press conference like this. So,
well, no, I don't. No, the head of the FBI, no.
Right. So that's first off. Secondly, I don't think, and I know it wasn't Patel, it was the Southern District guy there that went La Cosa Nostra. Okay. Right. I mean, these are things you hear when the Godfather's running across your screen and you stop and watch. Right. Not on CNN, not on Fox News. You know what I'm getting at.
Yes. I'm sorry, what did he say? Wait, is this, are you flipping channels? Was the Godfather on? No, right. It was CNN. They were doing a press conference. About what?
And also, where can I get some of these contact lenses so I can see all of the other cards at the table?
Wasn't that like right out of a Bond movie?
Yes.
Like, hold on a second. You mean to tell me there's a camera in the chute? All right, they've got cameras in underneath the felt. Okay, I mean, was this, Robert Wagner? Okay, with the eye patch, and the eye patch could see the blackjack cards that were coming out of the chute. Wow, this is fun though. I'm
I
sorry.
mean,
This is
and
fun.
we didn't really give our takes on the whole thing because one, we didn't know. We were basically giving you information as we were getting it yesterday. At
Right.
8:00, we had Roy Cummings on, and David's like, before we go to Roy, Rozier's been arrested by the FBI.
Right.
By the time we get to our third segment, or second segment of the hour, late in the second segment, I'm looking at X going, David, they arrested Chauncey Billups.
I could have sworn he coached the Blazers last night, Mark.
And you were correct in saying that. So we didn't have the information that the rest of the shows did, and we didn't really offer up any opinions on what happened. And I've listened to a lot of different takes all over the board, but the majority of the takes, I'm going to be on the opposite side because everybody I listened to yesterday said, this is blood money. The leagues have been taking this money. This was bound to happen. First off, we can go back to the 18 White Sox. Is that the year? Do I have it right? Was it 18 or 19, the Black Sox?
19.
19. We can go back to CCNY. I think that was in the 50s. We can go back to Boston College that Henry Hill of Goodfellas fame helped fix. We can go to Arizona State now about a decade and a half ago. Those are just four that come off the tip of my tongue when we talk about fixed games and sports involving players, teams. I think the Billups thing is completely separate than the Rozier thing, just like the case pointed out. Now, I will tell you that they could intertwine very easily in the fact that if Billups ended up owing a lot of money, he could have been compromised. There's no doubt.
There was a segment, a lot of segments in the last 2 to 3 years reappeared on social media yesterday and last night. There was a game last year in which the Blazers were 9-point underdogs, and they were trailing by 8 with 4 seconds to go. The other team had the ball. The Blazers had a foul to give. They pressed, tried to create a turnover, committed a foul. Okay, so now the other team's inbounding again. 4 seconds to go. Down 8. The Blazers fouled. The other team hit 2 free throws and won by 10. And there's a clip of a Portland sports radio guy the next morning, incredulous and all but implying, if I didn't know any better, something nefarious was going on.
And the great point that announcer in Portland made, and one of the reasons David brought it up, is in the new NBA, they don't play to the buzzer anymore, if you know what I mean.
Right.
They dribble that stuff out. When the game's out of hand, no one plays hard for the last 20 seconds. It's essentially the kneel down in the NFL.
In fact, the running joke is a lot of times you don't see someone hoist a 40, 50, 60, 70 footer at the end of quarters or games anymore because they don't want the, in 98% likelihood, miss to be on their shooting record. So they don't even hoist it. They're just like, nah, Let the buzzer sound.
But in the Rozier case, it was obvious with the bets that were made that people knew, and he was trying to make sure, and he took himself out of the game. But they caught him instantly on that.
Instantly. This happens all the time. This is the part, Mark, that everybody who's against gambling, okay, just conveniently, yes, there's a ton of gambling. Yes, bad stuff can go on. But who catches all the bad stuff going on, Mark?
The gamblers, the gambling, the books, the legalized gambling books are the ones that find out that there's an inordinate amount of bets placed on someone's over-under, and they let the league know.
Instantly.
And this is where you really have to question the NBA. Brian Windhorst, and we'll play the clip later in the show, Brian Windhorst went after the NBA yesterday on the Rozier case in particular because they knew, and he believes, and this is someone who covers the NBA for a living for ESPN. He's their senior guy. And he said the NBA blew it because they swept it under the rug.
At least twice. They've investigated Rozier twice and have exonerated him both times. And now the FBI arrests him, and at a presser, they go, well, let me tell you what he did. And he did it for hundreds of thousands of dollars. And in fact, he took himself out of this game. And later that night, they were back at the place counting the money. Now, the FBI, we have no idea if they shared any of this information with the NBA. Who knows? The NBA, Mark, may investigate the way the NCAA has investigated all the years. They went on yahoo.com. They didn't have anything about it, so they reinstated Rozier.
Where is Charles Robinson when you need him? He seems to be the last reporter that uncovers things like this. So I'm of the belief, and you know what? You could think I'm dead wrong, and that's okay. I'm of the belief that this legal gambling catches this more than it would if we were still betting with illegal sources.
Totally. This would have been done in cash. How would we have known? It might have come out months or years later. But how in the world would we have known that 30 bets would come in within hours of a Charlotte Hornets game in late March on one player's over-unders and prop bets? Come on. How would we find that out?
And we have no skin in the game, for the record. We're not ESPN. We're not Fox. We're not the Major League Baseball. We're not the Major League Baseball. Where the hell did that come from? We're not the NBA. We're not the NFL. We're not the NHL. We're not tennis or golf. We don't get a dime from gambling. Not a flippin' dime. Trust me, if you want to call it blood money, we would be lined up to take it if they offered it.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness, do we want Hard Rock's money?
More than you could ever know. We lost our syndicator because that money never came into Florida. It's why Miller and Moulton are on their own. So I think David agrees with me, we've believed for a long time that the legalized gambling actually makes it more on the up and up. You may not.
Now, there's no doubt there's more ways to do something nefarious, but it can easily be tracked, and it is tracked. There is a lot to this story. Oh, yeah, there's a football weekend in the World Series.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeister's backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeister's prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
When Glass Doctor replaces your windshield, we don't just send you on your way, we send you off protected. Your local Glass Doctor includes the industry's only 12-month windshield protection plan at no extra cost. That means unlimited chip repairs and even a one-time replacement if needed. High-quality service backed by real peace of mind, right here in your neighborhood.
Glass Doctor, Glass Doctor. Call the Glass Doctor. We fix your pains. Oh, yeah.
Exclusions apply. See your local Glass Doctor for
This is Miller and Moulton.
Michael, when the feds charge you, the statistics that I heard yesterday is that 90% of the people who are charged by the feds plea in some way, shape, or form. Those that don't plea are convicted 90% of the time. I think it was Racer in the chat room argued, is it possible the NBA was in cahoots with the FBI and the FBI said, let them play so that we could continue to do this? First off, no, I don't believe that. I don't believe the FBI would share that with the NBA. That's number one. Number two, if I'm Adam Silver, I'd say to the FBI, yeah, I can't let a guy play who's doing something to, impeach the integrity of the game.
Windhorst flat out said that he didn't play the last 8 games because of the league, not because of a foot injury.
But he played then
The next year.
All last year.
No, I got you.
But someone in the Twitch chat room said, do you think the reason that the league cleared him and let him play was so that the FBI can continue to do its thing? And I said, no, I don't believe that at all.
I don't think they did either.
By the way, and I do not want to go further, but Stephen A. basically said this was political.
I don't know if it was political, but to me, I thought there was a little there to what he said.
The reason why I don't in this instance, though, is this started during the Biden administration. I mean, the games in question all took place in fact, during the Biden administration.
I think the presser.
Okay, yeah, how they handled it. Okay, yeah, I mean,
the public show of it, I do.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. But I kind of took what he said as, they went down this road intentionally because they want to hurt the NBA. Well, no, the federal government was actually going after the mob.
All right, how do we word this poll question? Is legalized gambling ultimately going to hurt pro sports? Or do you think legalized gambling is blood money and the leagues are as responsible as the players? So I'm trying to figure out how we thread this needle, so to speak, where we have a good, serious question about this. And then we need 4 greasy foods, which is going to be a lot easier. But I'd like to get this poll question up before the starting 5.
Yeah, something along the lines of, is the widespread legalized gambling making this better or worse?
By making
There you
this.
go. I mean, Ryan says, is gambling good or bad for sports? I wish if I ran a league, I would want player props banned.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton. MillerandMoulton.com. Miller_Moulton on X. We have a big football weekend upon us. Much sexier on Saturdays than it is, quite frankly, on Sundays. Again. And the World Series starts tonight in Canada. That hasn't happened in 32 years. Do the Dodgers go back-to-back, which hasn't happened in nearly 30 years? Or do the Jays win their first World Series since the early days of the Clinton administration? That's what's at stake beginning tonight north of the border. Jays with home field, 2-3-2 format. Friday, Saturday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. So we could have a Game 7 on November 1st.
And you had a big stat yesterday that favors the Jays. And think about it. There's no stats favoring the Jays. There are just a lot of baseball fans that think the Dodgers are the new evil empire, even though the Jays are spending a ridiculous amount of money themselves.
So the LCS became a best of 7 40 years ago. The LCS didn't come into existence till 1969. It was a best of 5 through the 84 season. And yes, boy, do the Cubs wish it was a best of 7 in 84. But in 85, it became a best of 7. There have been 4 previous times where the winner of the one league championship series won it in a sweep. And the team they played in the World Series got through the league championship series by going the distance, 7 games. So Dodgers sweep of the Brewers, Jays 7-game victors over the Mariners. In the 4 previous World Series, the team that had to go the distance in the LCS beat the team that got there via sweep, and they beat them easily. That's the other thing that was surprising. In the 4 previous times, the teams that had to go the distance went 16-2 in the World Series.
And David,
there you go. 88, A's, Dodgers. Dodgers 1-5. 06, Cardinals, Tigers. Cardinals 1-5. 07, Rockies, Red Sox. Red Sox sweep. And then I believe it was Giants, Tigers in 2012. Giants in a sweep.
So I do think, at this point, it's important for us to know that currently the Blue Jays are plus 190. I think with everything going on, the more lines and odds I can give, the more irony there is to this damn show.
Okay. Did you see what happened? What's Greeny's show called? Is that Get Up?
Yes.
The 8 to 10 Eastern show? Get Up? Okay. So this story is breaking. I think the story broke like right before the show started.
Yeah.
So in the first half hour of the show, they're going to have Shams, okay, their guy who broke the story and who covers the NBA. They're going to have him on the show. Okay. The show was being sponsored by ESPN Bet.
And the crawl is running with
Right.
ESPN all over it, ESPN Bet, and they had to dissolve it.
Finally, yes, somebody in the control room goes, guys, do you think that's a bad look? Okay. Right.
So I have this for a poll question. It's very simple, but sometimes David likes explanations, and I threw them out. And I want to make sure my co-host is good with this. So a little on-air production. But is widespread legalized gambling good or bad for sports? And I say good. The books can catch the odd bets. Bad, more normalcy leads to more problems. And there are other reasons why you could have good or bad, but those to me, David and I have always been, it's good because they're going to catch these odd bets.
Right. And by the way, then the bets that came in on Rozier, that led the authorities down a road. Where's this money coming from? And they end up taking down, parts of 4 mob families. I mean, there were 34 people arrested yesterday. Only 3 of them have ties to the NBA.
So that's our poll question. That Mark Miller, the David Moulton. I promise you there will be another poll question today that will be more hard-hitting. We just don't know what we're putting as the answers because today, David, is National Greasy Food Day.
Hot damn, this is my holiday.
You're damn right it is.
Yeah. Well, French fries has to be one of the 4. Come on now.
And a burger's got to be on there.
Sure.
I mean, there's nothing quite like a greasy burger.
So there's 2 of the 4. So we'll take suggestions as to what are the other nominees on today, National Greasy Food Day. Oh, this is outstanding. I'm going to be in 3 different states today. I leave Florida, fly to O'Hare, and then drive to Iowa. I have multiple opportunities to honor this great day.
So we'll get something up for that. You can throw your nominees at us, obviously, in either of the Twitch or YouTube chat rooms, or those of you who take in the show and don't watch it. We'd love you to text the Pelican Roofing of Florida text line. Pelican Roofing of Florida, 1-866-9-PELICAN. Commercial, residential, statewide, Pelican Roofing of Florida, one of the proud sponsors that make Miller and Moulton happen.
So some folks are getting on Al Michaels because late in last night's Chargers demolition of the Vikings, Al was having some fun because Al has always been aware of what the point spreads have been on games. Al has joked about the game being over or this game is underwhelming for over 40 years. He didn't wait till legalize widespread sports betting. Okay, Al's been joking about this for a long time. So Al's having some fun last night because he knew that the over-under was anywhere between 44 and 45 points, depending on where you placed your bet and when. And so when it was 34-10 and the Chargers got the ball back, he turns to Kirk and he says, Kirk, sometimes some people think a game like this is over, but it's not always over. I mean, if you know what I mean, it's close to being over, but it's not yet over. And then, with the story that came out earlier in the day, people were like, it's really bad timing from Al Michaels. First off, I'm telling you, Al would have done that 30, 40 years ago.
Right. And he got it from Brent Musburger.
Yes.
Because Brent was the first one to do it, and Al loved it, and Al's done it for his entire career.
So people are giving Al a hard time for him trying to have some fun and also bring up something that, quite frankly, that's part of the reason why the NFL has always wink, wink, nodded at gambling before it was widespread legal, was they knew it helped ratings. They did. Why do you think the NFL's always had an injury report early in the week? And they update it daily. And they find teams. They take draft picks away from teams. That's how seriously the NFL has taken the injury report. And why would the injury report be important if not for gambling?
Well, and even Brent, because he's been interviewed a lot when they did the NFL Today throwback, and he talked about bringing Jimmy the Greek Snyder on, and Rozelle at the time, the commissioner said, just don't put the point spreads up. That's all he asked.
Right.
So they were going to bring a professional gambler on, and the commissioner of the league said, just please don't put the point spreads up, which meant don't put the point spreads up. And it's why they ended up with their plus-minus system or their checkbox system.
Right.
And when all the checks were on one side, you knew Jimmy the Greek wanted to bet whoever that team was. Miller and Moulton. We've got one poll question up, another on greasy food on the way. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real. This year during Thanksgiving week, Fort Myers takes the national stage, hosting not one but two elite women's college basketball tournaments, the Fort Myers Tip-Off and Coconut Hoops, both featuring Power 4 teams and nationally ranked programs. Few places in the country can showcase this level of talent. We're proud that Fort Myers is one of them. Don't miss your chance. For tickets, go to visitfortmyers.com/basketball. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 13325.
This is Miller and Moulton.
By the way, I obviously wasn't watching NBA last night because I had 2 hockey games. Actually, I had 3 different hockey games. No, 4 different hockey games going last night at different times, along with football that I never had the volume on for. We did Panthers because on the main TV, I now have the cable because we got it for a few months free with this new deal we have. So I could watch the Panthers on that TV. So I put that on for the wife, put the Red Wings on for me, and the football game on the other one. Then when the Wings were getting just destroyed, I switched to Blackhawks Lightning, which was a pretty good game. By the way, Blackhawks scored late to win that, too.
Oh, man.
Good goal, too. I mean, good 2-on-1 rush rebound. And then, of course, after the Pens and Panthers were done, which was an exciting game. Every time the Panthers closed it to 1, Pittsburgh would score again. Then I put on Nordiques and Whalers.
Right.
God, did that look great.
And ladies and gentlemen, as promised, Mark sent text to Seth of the Whalers and Nordiques playing.
Come on, you knew that was coming.
Yep.
In fact, last night I wasn't even using YouTube. I was using the ESPN app and the Amazon app. I wasn't even using my normal TV app most of the night. But that's 2 nights in a row that the first basketball game had to take away last night, the first quarter and a half. By the time that ended, because it went double OT again.
At this rate, they'll never show Oklahoma City first again.
I do like that bacon goes on the greasy food list. Whoever nominated that, that's a winner. I mean, bacon is flat out a winner.
Wings, pizza.
And I understand people going French fries, but to me, greasy fries aren't good fries. Crispy fries are good fries. If you have greasy fries, they weren't cooked properly. That's just my opinion. One man's opinion.
So you don't like Five Guys' fries?
I think Five Guys' fries are great. I don't think they're super greasy.
I
think their burger's tremendously greasy. It's a, David, it's a right mix. You can do a little grease and crisp, but you got to have a little crisp. You don't have crisp, you don't have a good fry.
Well, I mean, their fries are interesting in that I think they're greasy as hell, and yet they're the crispiest fries out there.
And I do think you have to pour them out of the bag quickly onto something, because if not, they do get that soft greasy at the bottom.
Mm-hmm. They're also unbelievably hot when they're in that bag.
Yes. I will say my wife's fried plantains at dinner last night. Plantains, rather, were wonderfully greasy and awesome, too.
Ooh, fried chicken. That's interesting. Because Popeye's chicken a lot of people like, and that's the greasiest of the chicken places, right?
I can't help you there.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Well, I think we've created an uproar. We've talked about gambling and greasy food in the first 2 segments of the show. I don't know if we could get people more up in arms than going down those 2 roads. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. We're still working on the National Greasy Foods poll question. Today's National Greasy Food Day.
I misspoke. It's actually tomorrow. I don't care. I'm still using it as a poll question.
Definitely.
Because we don't have a show tomorrow. I
Right.
mean, we're celebrating it both today and tomorrow. Miller and Moulton, big advocates of greasy food, okay? So I was a day early, but David, you can celebrate all weekend long.
I think it's worthy of a 3-day weekend, personally.
You know what? I should have taken today off because apparently everybody took yesterday off.
Oh, stop it.
The poll ended up like 25% of the people took the day off. What the hell?
It just ended up bigger than you thought, so you're all bent out of shape.
All the retired people voting who have every day off.
Exactly. But boom. And our other poll question has to do with gambling and basically whether or not it's good or bad for sports. Not good or bad for individuals, good or bad for sports. Vote accordingly. That Mark Miller, the David Moulton, Miller_Moulton on X. We'd appreciate it. It's time now for
The Starting Five. 5 big stories you need to know. Here is the Starting Five.
The Starting Five, brought to you by Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism. That's BST. You know, back in the day, there was BTO, Backman Turner Overdrive. Lee County is into BST, business, sports, and tourism.
And since you're going Bachman Turner Overdrive, why don't you get started with this and, take care of business?
Every day, Lee County is taking care of business every day. No?
I did not expect that to lead him to start singing, everyone. I didn't. I thought what the hell?
See what happens, okay, when you make sure I get the sponsor in. I go down that road. We, of course, start with the NBA, and what a third day of the season. Portland Trailblazers head coach Chauncey Billups, Heat guard Terry Rozier, and former player assistant coach Damon Jones all arrested by the FBI yesterday as part of not one but 2 mafia-related investigations, one for illegal sports betting and the other for, rigged high-stakes poker games. 34 people arrested across 11 states. Tens of millions of dollars apparently was in play. During this investigation, the NBA immediately placed Billups and Rozier on leave. In Rozier's case, specifically, the FBI is focused in on 7 games from March of 23 through March of 24, involving games with Charlotte, Portland, Orlando, the Lakers, and Toronto. In 3 of the 7 games, players involved removed themselves from the games for supposed injuries and did not return. Oh, by the way, 2 games in the NBA last night, and they were both tremendous.
They really were.
OKC for the second game this year, going not 1 but 2 overtimes before winning. In a rematch of last year's finals, the Thunder beat the Pacers 141-135. That SGA guy with a double nickel. He went Sammy Hagar. 55 for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, overcoming Benedict Mathurin's 36 points and 11 rebounds for the Pacers. Thunder 2-0, Pacers 0-1. Then Golden State needed overtime. Steph hits a 3 late in regulation to force the OT, which does beg the question, how in the world can you let Steph hit a 3 in the final seconds to force overtime? I mean, seriously, don't you just have to foul him and put him on the line to shoot 2? I mean, you can't let him get the ball, and if he does, you got to tackle him. Golden State in OT beat Denver 137-131, overcoming 50 from Aaron Gordon of the Nuggets.
And Jokic started the year out with a triple-double, just to keep everybody updated.
Last 5 years, he's got 3 MVPs and 2 second-place finishes. NFL, Chargers humiliate the Vikings and beat up Carson Wentz already more than he was already beaten up, 37-10. Chargers 5-3. Vikings are 3-4. Think about that. Vikings won 14 games last year. They're 3-4. Commanders won 12 games last year. Went to the NFC title game. They're 3-4. Justin Herbert with 3 touchdown passes. Vikings only had 164 total yards of offense. Meanwhile, the Chargers had over 200 rushing and 212 passing. College football, South Alabama, the Jags, Mark, beat the Panthers of Georgia State 38-31. There are 3 college games tonight. Cal and Va Tech on ESPN at 7:30 Eastern. North Texas and Charlotte on ESPN2 at 7. And, of course, got to have a Mountain West game on CBS Sports Network. How about Boise and Nevada? Game 1 of the World Series tonight. Dodgers and Blue Jays. The series starts north of the border in Toronto. It'll be Blake Snell, who has an ERA of under 1 in 3 starts in the postseason, taking on Trey Yeskevich, the rookie for the Jays, who's won 2 games. Started the year in single A. Dodgers could become the first team since the Yankees in the 90s to go back-to-back when the Yankees won 3 in a row, 96 through 98. Or the Jays are going to win their first World Series since they went back-to-back in 92 and 93. There is a player note to this series so far. The Dodgers bullpen is shaky, although, it's only had 1 bad outing in the playoffs. A couple times they were leaking oil, but got the horse in the barn barely. But the one lefty they could trust in their bullpen is Alex Vesia. He's been with them now for 5 years. He has a serious family matter going on between him and his wife. That's all the Dodgers would say. He had to fly back and be with her. He's going to miss at least game 1. They could put him on a list, which would force him to miss games 1 and 2 of the World Series, but he would be eligible to come back in game 3. But the Dodgers did come out and say he will not be available for game 1 tonight, 8 o'clock on Big Fox. NHL, 12 games last night. The Lightning are 1-4-2 to start the year.
Yeah, they're struggling, and they're getting beat sometimes by some not so good teams, David.
Well, the Blackhawks are off to a surprising 4-2-2 start, in which Ryan Donato scored twice, including the game winner with 54 seconds to play, and the Blackhawks beat the Lightning in Tampa 3-2.
Nothing like giving a 2-on-1 up in the last minute of the game.
And our buddy there, our Rock, it's always good to have a Vasilevsky. He's still looking for his first win of the year.
Yep.
Unbelievable. You know what also is unbelievable? The Penguins are supposed to be one of the 3 worst teams in the league. Who knows? They might be, but they're not right now. They've won 4 in a row. They're 6-2 to start the season. They went to South Florida and beat the Panthers 5-3. This Sidney Crosby guy, he's going to be a good one. He had 2 goals and an assist.
His second goal last night was ridiculous. It was just a tic-tac-toe play. Malkin started it. Crosby finished it. It was beautiful. It was an absolute thing of beauty.
I love him. I still think he's one of the 10 best players in the game. All right. He can go win big face-offs. Okay. He's got amazing hands still. San Jose picked up their first win of the year, but the Rangers were like, hey, we finally got a point at home. Our 5th home game, we finally got a point. San Jose in overtime 6-5. Anaheim with 4 in the third to beat the Bruins 7-5. Ottawa 2-1 over Philly. The Islanders whooped up on your wings. Man.
Oh, my goodness, did they ever.
It was 5-0 New York after 2. The Islanders won 7-2. Nashville, Cole Smith with the game winner for the Preds in the third period. At home, they beat Vancouver 2-1. Utah, Logan Cooley with an old-school hat trick, where you not only score 3 goals, you score them in a row, and you do it in the same period. He did it in the first period last night for Utah in their 7-4 win over St. Louis. Joey Dacard with 32 saves for the Kraken as they shut out Winnipeg 3-0. The Kings sent Dallas to their 4th straight loss. Kempe with the game winner in overtime 3-2. The Hartford Whalers beat the Quebec Nordiques in a shootout last night. That's Carolina over Colorado because that's where those 2 franchises started. They wore the old jerseys last night. It did look awesome.
Oh, it looks spectacular. I know Quebec's not going to get one of the expansion teams, and they probably don't deserve one. But, man, it was a great name and a great uni.
Boy, I'd love for them. The word is the NHL is going to add 4 teams, probably 2 and then 2, and it'll happen in the next half dozen years. And the word is, I guess the first 2 are going to be Atlanta and Houston. And then Gary Bettman thinks hockey in Phoenix could work. The only reason it didn't work was ownership. So he's going to give Phoenix another crack, and then they need to add a 36th team. And a lot of people think it'll be north of the border. Well, why not Quebec?
Well, if it is north of the border, I don't know where else they would go.
Right. So I'm hopeful, actually, that Quebec gets a team again. And that the Rockies say, yeah, or the Avs, excuse me, say, yeah, call yourself the Nordiques. Go nuts. Edmonton, down 5-3 mid-third, scored 3 goals to beat Montreal, 6-5. Golf, PGA Tours in Utah for the Bank of Utah Championship. 4-way tie for the lead at 6 under. 7 guys are 1 shot back, including our FGCU golfer there, Frankie Sappin, who got healthy and has kind of found his game here in the last 6 weeks. Desperately trying to hang on to his tour card. Probably needs a win to do it. I don't want to say it's tough to stay on the PGA Tour, but he's won $800,000 this year, and he's a month away from being sent to the minors. And at 9 minutes before the hour, that was starting 5. 5 big stories, and golf in Utah, or the Whalers and the Nordiques here on Miller and Moulton, brought to you by Lee County, Florida, building a better community through Backman Turner Overdrive. I mean business, sports, and tourism.
Well done, David. Well done.
Thank you.
So, National Greasy Food Day. Bacon and wings are for sure on there for me.
Okay.
I mean, do you go pizza? Do you go burger? Do you go French fries? Which, you have to eliminate one.
I thought you made a good point about the fries. How many fries can be good if they're greasy? Because doesn't that make them soggy? Therefore, how good can they be? So I would lean pizza and burgers. Because like some people love Five Guys. And some people go, that's the greasiest damn thing I've ever eaten.
All right, bacon, wings, pizza, burgers. It's up. National Greasy Food Day is tomorrow. We're celebrating all weekend long here on Miller and Moulton with a double shot of Bachman Turner Overdrive.
Yeah, or business, sports, and tourism, one or the other.
Right. It's a block party weekend. Just remember your rock stations.
In fact, shouldn't they maybe try to come up with a little, obviously they're doing some marketing here and they're using us as part of their plan, but shouldn't they maybe go a little BTO, as they're trying to promote BST?
Maybe they don't have the money for the rights. I'd rather they just use their money a little more wisely, like spending it with Miller and Moulton.
But they're already doing that. Besides, how much is BTO really going to charge them?
You make a damn good point. Although I'm afraid to play it on the air, David, because we'll be taken off of all of our internet feeds.
No doubt, no doubt. If you go more than 7 seconds, the show spontaneously combusts.
Miller and Moulton, we will talk not only Lee's picks, but a little bit more of his perspective on the gambling bust yesterday. Pat Kirwan at 8 o'clock to talk the National Football League right here, Miller and Moulton. Football season is back, and celebrate your game day with Jimmy the Beef Guy. We're talking tender, juicy Chicago beef sandwiches. Whether your party's for 10, 100, or 200, bring game day to your house with Jimmy the Beef Guy. The catering packages come with the beef, the gravy, the peppers, the bread, everything you need. 2 convenient locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. Skip the ordinary and bring the beef. Jimmy the Beef Guy, Chicago flavor, Southwest Florida style. Call today or visit jimmythebeefguy.com. Tell them Miller and Moulton sent you.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000 depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com, capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 13325.
It's the event everyone will be talking about when college basketball's biggest names take the court in Fort Myers. The Michigan State Spartans and the North Carolina Tar Heels headline the 2025 Skechers Fort Myers Tip-Off. Witness the excitement live and in person this Thanksgiving week at Suncoast Arena. The stage is set. Will you be there? Lock in your spot now at FortMyersTipoff.com/go. That's FortMyersTipoff.com/go. See you Thanksgiving week at Suncoast Arena.
For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to nolanagency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or nolanagency.com. Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine, no more snoring, no more tossing, no more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and
This
sound.
is Miller and Moulton.
I haven't had a Monte Cristo sandwich. That thing kind of went away with the 70s, but I'm with you. crud. Hey, Lee.
Hey, good morning.
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 Morning. Top of the morning to you.
Top of the morning to you.
Talk about the gambling scandal first.
Sure.
Horrific.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark and David Moulton.
Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this Football Friday.
Football Friday.
Oh, there's a lot more to it than that. A lot more than usual. World Series getting underway tonight. And apparently, the mob is involved in illegal activities. And this time it involves sports. Unbelievable. Who'd have thunk it? But it's time for Lee Sterling. And he's on a roll. Not just on this show, but for his clients. But on this show, he went 4-1 last week and got his game of the week right. Thank you very much. Lee Sterling of Paramount Sports, ParamountSports.com, 800-400-9741. All right, in all seriousness, when something like yesterday's events, you're obviously involved in gambling for your livelihood. Okay, when something like yesterday happens, how bad is that for you and your business?
It doesn't even drop 1 or 2%, which is crazy. You would think it should. Now, I do think we should, I always said from the beginning, should be the limits that they have for some of these player props is ridiculous. So, you know, they can obviously be manipulated. NBA is the easiest game. Basketball, only 5 players on the court. Going to be very tough to manipulate a football game unless you've got the quarterback or baseball. So just so much tougher. I mean, it's sad that what Terry Rozier, if he's guilty of what he's being charged with, to leak some information or work with associates to make money. And it looks like they had anywhere between $200,000 and $300,000 bet on his player prop. So just a horrific, day for the NFL, NBA. And it also looks bad because the Heat's involved in it. They ended up trading for Terry Rozier. When this happened, he was with the Charlotte Hornets.
Right.
And you would think, if you're trying to make a trade, they would say, listen, there's something ongoing here. But they didn't do anything. They signed him to a 4-year, $99 million or $100 million.
And they gave up a first-round pick in the trade.
Right. So that's almost or worse than, someone being injured when they're traded. So there's going to be a lot of moving parts that take place with this. The Heat would love to have $25 million in cap relief. So,
and they may get it because there's a possibility they can void this contract. But, as you talk about the trade and the Heat not knowing, this is on the NBA, Lee. I mean, because by all accounts, the NBA was told that this gambling action, the books called the NBA
Yep.
And by what Brian Windhorst was reporting yesterday, when he came out of the game and said he was hurt in that game in March of 23, he then was taken out of the rest of the season, and that was by the NBA's doing, and then they kind of swept this under the rug.
Right. They thought it would go away, and it's come back, and it's come back. That's what they say, sometimes even worse. So horrific. And then Chauncey Billups, I believe he made over $100 million in his career. He's making close to $5 million a year as a head coach, and to get involved with maybe the mafia, horrible.
All right.
Yep.
Let's give some winners out.
All right, let's do it.
All right. No prop bets involved, though, unfortunately.
Nope.
Just point spreads. All right. Let's start as we normally do with college football. And Vanderbilt hosting game day and in the top 10. Yeah, that's the world we're living in right now. Mm-hmm. It figures we'd have the FBI involved in a mob-related sports controversy because Vandy's in the top 10 in college football and hosting game day. Then they're 2.5-point favorites over Missouri.
Maybe they should hold game day in the library. That's where they'd probably find the most Vanderbilt fans. But should be a fun game. But anything Bo Prabilla can do for Missouri, 11 touchdowns, and he's run for 210 yards. Diego Pavia can do better. 15 touchdowns through the air, and he's run for 438 yards. Biggest problem with Prabilla, now you understand why he didn't start. Penn State has trouble reading defenses. 7 interceptions, and a couple of them have been key interceptions. One of them against Alabama ended up costing maybe the game. Their running game is grind down to a halt. Hardy, who was great, 730 yards through the first 5 games, 52 and 58 yards last 2 games. Right team's favorite, Vandy, 30-24.
All right, A&M and LSU. LSU wants Brian Kelly out. Brian Kelly may want to leave. Yeah. And A&M can't, week to week, I can't figure them out, Lee. I lost on LSU or on A&M last week, thought that game was covered, and they let up a couple of late scores. They have no problem offensively. Sometimes their defense can be suspect. LSU has been one-dimensional all year. They can't run it at all. Their offensive line's terrible. How do you see this game?
Yeah, so they hit on a couple explosive plays. They're 15th in plays of 50 yards or more. But everyone knows their last lowest play action amount of plays in college football. And their left tackle's out. A&M, an impressive 10th in pressure rate, 4th in sacks here. Last week, LSU couldn't get off the field against Diego Pavia. And Marcel Reed, it was his coming out party last year against LSU. When he was inserted after halftime, 3 touchdowns, 3 straight drives here. He's a bigger, faster, stronger, and has a better arm than Diego Pavia here. I like Texas A&M. They might lose eventually, but not this week, 31-20.
A&M has never won in Death Valley.
Right.
Now, granted, they only joined the SEC 13 years ago, but even going back before then, A&M. So this would be a monstrous win for A&M at LSU. Stanford, after upsetting Florida State, I'm a little surprised the number's this big, plus the Canes coming off their first loss. 30 or 30.5 you'd have to lay on the Canes.
I thought it should be 24.5. That's what I made the number here. So they're not great, Stanford, but what they do is they might have to play their backup quarterback in this game, but they just slowly matriculate down the field. They throw to their tight end, maybe more than any school in the country. They throw to 4 different tight ends. So they used to be tight end U for a while. I just think that this Miami team, playing a team that runs 55, 56% of the time, when you run like that, slows down the game, and Miami's not really a quick strike offense here. They're going to have to open up and show more than just these runs up the middle. I'll take Stanford in the points. I think Miami wins this game, something like 38-17.
Well, the Dolphins still have McDaniel as a head coach, which has shocked the 2 hosts of this show, and it looks like it's going to be that way for the rest of the year. I don't know if they've quit playing for Tua. Certainly they don't like him because not one guy supported him after the apology. 7.5 is the number. Atlanta's hosting Miami.
I'm going to take a different approach to this in the next game. I'm going to do a 2-team 6-point teaser for both of these games. I'm going to take Atlanta, take it from 7.5. I don't want to lay 7.5 in case you lose. They win the game by 3, 4, 6, or 7. I'm going to bring it down to 1 and take Atlanta here. If Bijan Robinson could, absolutely destroy some of the best rushing defenses after only rushing for 40 yards last week, he'll go wild against Miami here. And so I'll take Atlanta there. And I'm going to take Tampa Bay. You got New Orleans without their center and top 2 running backs. So they're going to have to find a different way to move the ball. And I think Baker Mayfield find a way to win that game. That line is 4.5. So bring it down. You're getting 1.5. 2-team 6-point teaser, Atlanta and Tampa Bay Bucks.
All right. So the Falcons would only have to cover 1.5, and Tampa Bay ends up getting a 1.5 with the teaser. Game of the week, Sunday night. It's the Packers and the Steelers. Pittsburgh at home. Green Bay a 2.5-point favorite.
Love this game. Hint, it's my biggest game of the weekend for Sunday. You want to hop on board. You want to get this game for free. Just call 800-400-9741. On Sundays, we're on a 23-2 run. 5-0, 5-0, 5-0, 4-1, and 4-1 the last 5 weeks. You want to get Lee's NFL Sunday Golden Ticket. 5 games for 4 weeks, just $197. One place, ParamountSports.com.
Packers and Steelers, his game of the week, 800-400-9741 or ParamountSports.com. Lee, appreciate it. All the best. Have a great weekend.
Take care. Be safe.
Lee Sterling of Paramount Sports. So he likes Vandy to win and cover at home. He likes A&M to win and cover on the road, and he thinks the Canes win by 3 touchdowns, but not by more than 30.5. So he'll take the Cardinal and the points. You know, I'm sad. I'm sad that this is one of those times they don't put a point spread on FCS games.
FCS, that's where you're going?
I'm just saying it's number 1 North Dakota State at number 2 South Dakota State. I think game day should be in Brookings, South Dakota, not in Nashville. But
Look,
that's me.
The Vanderbilt Commodores are in the top 10. I'm fine with them being at Vandy. I understand your soft spot for the Dakotas, but Nashville's not a bad place to have game day.
No.
And besides, that way Kirk doesn't have to complain about flying on a private jet.
That's true. He's home. He's home. Although I don't think he's calling the game. I forget where it is he has to get to the game that he's calling. But yes, he at least is spending a Friday and a Friday night at home and what have you.
Anybody else, when Lee said Lee's NFL Golden Ticket, start singing the Willy Wonka Golden Ticket song in your head?
Totally.
You got to be of a certain age. If you're young, you don't have a clue what I'm talking about. But if you're of a certain age, you're in a golden ticket.
I've got a golden ticket. Yep, that's exactly what I did. He goes, "This is my golden ticket."
I literally tuned out what he was talking about, and I just was singing in my head.
I was singing and thinking of chocolate bars, right?
Not a bad thing to think about. Miller and Moulton. Lee made his picks. Lee, actually, I had him at 4-1. Believe it or not, he went 4-2 because remember, he gave us Miami and the over, and he lost both ends of that last week in the Louisville game. So he did pick 6 games last week, only 4 this week because he gave us his first 2-team parlay of the year.
Yeah, a little teaser action.
David's on a roll. He has not had a losing week in almost a month.
We're celebrating 4 and 4 weeks on this show.
That's because I went 1-4 last week. You may want to go the other way when I make my picks next.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family-owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 13325.
This is Miller and Moulton.
I'm with you, Bleezy. I like a good teaser also.
Interesting. It kind of goes without saying because he's played for 100 years, but this would mean Rodgers has beaten every team in the league if he beats the Packers on Sunday.
Okay. No, Joe, a teaser, you got to combine it with another. You can't have a one-team teaser. You got to have two.
And yes, they've had many, not many. North Dakota's been game day host a few times, right?
Yeah.
I think they even did Montana once for one. I mean, for maybe, I think they've done a couple, Joe.
Yeah, 2 or 3 in Fargo. They've done it at least twice. I don't know if they've been to Brookings or not. But they're number 1 and 2 in the country. These two schools have won the last, I think it's 11 national championships at the FCS level. It's either 8-2 or 9-2, North Dakota State. They're both 7-0. They're 1 and 2 in the country. They're obviously rivals. They were Division II rivals back in the day of the North Central Conference. What's ironic is the number 3 team in the country in FCS is North Dakota. Robes, they did go to Brookings. Okay.
I've got North Dakota State as a 4.5-point favorite for what it's worth.
Ooh, where'd you see it?
The Hard Rock app. They have all of them on there. Every
Wow.
I mean.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Pat Kirwan to talk all things NFL. Coming up at the top of the hour. Miller and Moulton on this Football Friday.
Football Friday.
But obviously, we spent a decent amount of time in our first hour talking about the FBI and the mob. And yeah, let's have a good little investigation. Let's arrest some people involved with the NBA. Let's have an illicit high-stakes poker ring going on. Sure. What the heck? Let's spice up the week, shall we? Right before the World Series, which gets underway tonight. I think I'll say this. I think the Dodgers win. But I think this series goes back to Toronto to finish up on either Halloween or November 1st. I think that the Dodgers, it'd be amazing to me that a team, they haven't scored a lot of runs in the playoffs. They're getting by with their starting pitching. The bullpen is yet to be exposed, Mark. And I do think that eventually it's tough to hide a bullpen for a month. They've done a great job so far. I think at some point, somebody's going to get to their bullpen and really make them sweat.
Well, I think if that happens, don't you believe that game 1 and 2 are critical for Toronto to get to the two pitchers who have done so well in the playoffs of pitching deep into games and trying to get Snell and Yamamoto out a little early and extend counts and take pitches and, make the bullpen work games 1 and 2.
Yes.
They really didn't have to do in the last series. Then as the series goes on, you've worn that bullpen out a little bit. I'll tell you, baseball ratings, we've talked about it. Obviously, this is tough for the team north of the border. Canadian ratings are great. Japanese ratings are great. U.S. ratings have been spectacular. Games of consequence matter more. But think about it. If we go to games of consequence, game 6, game 7, Halloween, Friday night, already the worst TV night of the week. Add Halloween on top of it, where families are all out trick-or-treating. And then another Saturday of college football. I mean,
right.
If baseball does well here, they did it against a stacked deck. I mean, this is like playing poker against Chauncey Billups.
But this is how much the NFL intimidates them. They picked starting on a Friday. They picked these days. And you're right. Friday, Saturday are the two worst television days of the week in terms of ratings and number of people in their households watching television. Think about it. We do things on Friday and Saturday nights. Okay. We don't stay at home those nights. And yet the Major League Baseball is so fearful of the NFL that they're like, yeah, we'll potentially play 4 of our 7 World Series games on those 2 nights.
All right, Mr. 500, sometimes winner. How many picks we got this week?
Mark, we've picked 8 games 3 weeks in a row. We've gone 4-4 twice and 5-3 once. So I haven't had a losing week picking 8 games a week. We're going with an Elite 8. 4 college, 4 pro. I agree with Lee. Vandy's got the better quarterback. Vandy's played a more difficult schedule. Missouri is their best win is Kansas at home. Seriously, look it up. Give me Vandy, lay the 2.5. All right. They're playing for the pig in Iowa City. I can't believe I finally get to go to this game. I get to work this game. I'm so excited. Iowa's won 9 of 10 in this rivalry. They're at home. They're the better team. You'd think they'd cover. Last 5 games in Iowa City, Gophers are 1-4, but they haven't lost by more than 7 points in any of the 5. Give me the Gophers in 7.5, although I really loved it earlier in the week at 8.5.
I'm giving you 8.5 because the lines that I use, it's still at 8.5.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Navy's coming off a bye and they're undefeated. FAU is not good and they're on the road. Give me Navy and lay the 14.5. Central Michigan's a decent MAC team. UMass is the worst team in the country. UMass also suffered a heartbreaking loss last week. Central Michigan's going to win by 30. They're only laying 15.5. NFL. I'm sorry. I think what the Chargers did to the Vikings last night, I think they could do to the Dolphins, Atlanta. Give me Atlanta, lay the 7.5. Listen, I know I'm being set up. I know it. But how in the world can the Ravens be a 6.5-point favorite over literally anybody right now? And they're a 6.5-point favorite over the Bears, who have won 4 in a row. I'm taking the Bears and the points. Lamar's not expected to play. What are we missing? How are the Ravens favored in this game? Never mind by 6.5. The Jets can't score, although I'm fearful they're going to go to Tyrod Taylor and they're going to put 20 on the board and they're going to cover. But I'm going to take the Bengals. I'm going to take the Fighting Flaccos, lay 6.5. Come on, Joe. You can win by 7. I know you can do it. And how is Carolina a 7.5-point underdog at home against anybody? They're undefeated at home. They've won 3 in a row. The Bills, yes, they're coming off a bye, but the Bills have lost 2 in a row, and 7.5 in the NFL is a lot of points. I'm going to make Buffalo prove it to me. I'm taking Carolina at home, getting 7.5.
All right. Central Michigan and UMass, huh?
I'm betting against the worst team in college football. Can't give me grief for that.
First time I think the Chippewas have ever been bet, unless I did it in a Central Western game. Take these picks with a grain of salt. 2-3, 2-3, 1-4. Those are my last 3 weeks. But SMU whooped Clemson.
Mm-hmm.
They play Wake Forest. I still think Clemson's better than Wake Forest. Give me SMU, hoping they don't have a letdown game. They're only laying 2.5 on the road at Wake Forest. Auburn, we've talked about on this show nearly every week of what they could be if a couple of calls would have gone their way. Hell, one call was so bad they've kicked the ref out of football for the rest of the year. Give me Auburn. I'm getting 3.5 at Arkansas. Fairly well, my friends. Oregon is wearing Grateful Dead uniforms. Let's just hope that the Ducks players aren't tripping acid during the game. Otherwise, they shouldn't have a problem disposing of 1.5. But Blossom's blooming. I'll take Oregon. I've been riding my Yellow Jackets all year. Syracuse has a backup quarterback playing. Georgia Tech's at home. It's a rather big number, but Georgia Tech seems to be getting better week by week. 16.5 is the number. I'll lay it with the Jackets. And finally, I think Dallas's run of great play comes to an end against a great defense. Bo Nix will play better than he did in the 1-quarter comeback. I'm hoping they found something because they play one of the worst defenses in the league. Give me the Broncos, and I'll lay the 3.5 against the Cowboys.
So 4 college and 1 NFL play for Mark. I'm 4-4. 4 college, 4 pro. And there you have it.
17-23 on the year is where I stand. David is 23-35.
Yeah. 6 and 12 games below 500. So take those bets and flip them, baby. That's
Still
what you
love
should
the fact
do.
that we do this. I don't miss weeks on the show. It's not like I've missed a week. And David already has 18 more plays than I do.
Yep. By the end of the year, I may double the number of picks that Mark has.
It's possible. It's possible. Apparently, by the way, the gambling gene of losing runs in my family.
Really?
For those of you that follow me on X, my son does a little podcast about college football. He knows ball pretty well. He really does. And he's entertaining. And he can't pick a winner to save his life. He makes Moulton look good.
Whoa!
And I'm talking to him yesterday. He said, hey, so who'd you pick this week? And he gave me his picks, and I damn near went the other way on all of them. I will say he had Vandy, so that could be David and Lee's kiss of death.
Uh-oh.
When we come back, we will talk a little more gambling. A lot of you have chimed in on the Pelican Roofing of Florida text line. We'll get to those texts. We'll get to our poll question, and we'll take a look at the football that's coming up this weekend in a great college football weekend, particularly in the SEC again. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com. Football season is back, and celebrate your game day with Jimmy the Beef Guy. We're talking tender, juicy Chicago beef sandwiches. Whether your party's for 10, 100, or 200, bring game day to your house with Jimmy the Beef Guy. The catering packages come with the beef, the gravy, the peppers, the bread, everything you need. 2 convenient locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. Skip the ordinary and bring the beef. Jimmy the Beef Guy, Chicago flavor, Southwest Florida style. Call today or visit jimmythebeefguy.com. Tell him Miller and Moulton sent you.
Got a cracked window or foggy glass? Don't wait for the next storm to make it worse. Your local Glass Doctor Home and Business is just down the road and ready to help. From leaky frames to shattered panes, we've got the tools and the know-how to get your home or business storm ready. With flexible scheduling and our done right promise, you'll be in good hands. So before or after the weather hits, call your neighbors at Glass Doctor.
Glass Doctor, Glass Doctor. Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh yeah!
For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to nolanagency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or nolanagency.com.
They've cut the nets, they've raised the banners, and now they're headed to Fort Myers. Michigan State, North Carolina, and other top programs take the court in the Skechers Fort Myers Tip-Off this Thanksgiving week. Legendary programs, championship traditions, college basketball's biggest names, live at Suncoast Arena. Tickets are selling fast. Get yours now at FortMyersTipoff.com/go. That's FortMyersTipoff.com/go. This is Miller and Moulton.
Yeah, DC Mark said he found it also on the Hard Rock app because ESPN Bet doesn't do FCS.
I don't know how you even get ESPN Bet numbers.
Oh, I just get them right off of the ESPN site.
Oh, I was going to say, because you can't log into ESPN Bet in Florida.
No, nope. But I can get the numbers.
You know what, fam? Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. I don't want to hear about them. I'm not talking about them, and I'm not paying attention to them. Damn you.
She's dead to me, spam. In the last 2 days, for whatever reason, I've run into a lot of Norm Macdonald on X and other places. Ah, man. Funny.
Hey, because I don't deal with the person that they say is dealing with you, not to do a little the production, at least during the commercial. Has the tip-off people, have they talked to you at all about
guests?
Yeah, the Palms division getting a coach, because that's all, I gave them the two names we talked about, the one women's coach.
Yes.
And then
they literally emailed me yesterday about specifics.
And I did say, I am a Michigan State alum. I know it's a long shot, but I said we tape him. We do it whenever he could do it. I did see a Norm when his hosting Saturday Night Live. I wanted to still work here. They didn't want me to work here. Now I'm back hosting. And I'm still not funny, but the show blows.
Right.
Oh, my goodness.
Conan brings up to him that Kate Gosselin from John and Kate Plus 8 wants to start dating again. And he goes, well, Conan, I've always wanted to hook up with a middle-aged, bitter woman with 8 kids.
I like when he was on Conan and brought him, when Conan was done, and he brought him the gift. And he acted like he didn't know he was done, and he bought it a couple of years ago when he got the show. Any of the Conans with him are great because the jokes he tells are dang near the whole segment. I mean, they're the longest jokes ever.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. It's a Football Friday.
Football Friday.
Which got underway last night, if you will. Boy, the Chargers with a beatdown on the Vikings. Whew. Can the Vikings recover? Are you going to have to get to 11 in the NFC, or do you think 10 will still work, Mark?
10. It's 10. It's not going to be 11. Now, I think 10 could be a tie break. It's going to be the right 10, if you know what I mean.
Right.
But I still think 10 will get you there. I mean, there's no telling whether Detroit and Green Bay get past 10. Now, Green Bay, their 10, with that tie could mean a whole hell of a lot.
Right. Their 10-6-1 will beat all 10-7s, correct?
Right. Now, between the Niners, the Rams, and the Seahawks, they still got to play each other a bunch. So there'll be some of that going on. Carolina, I have no faith that they're going to get to 10. Can Dallas get to 10? Because that's 10-6-1 because they have a tie as well.
Well, for Dallas to get to 10, they're going to have to upset the Broncos this week. realistically, you're going to have to win a game or two that you're not expected to win if you're going to finish the season on a 7-3 run, which is what they need to do to get to 10-6-1.
The Commanders, I don't think so. Daniel's not playing again this week. Come on.
Well, they lose this week. Also, they fall to 3-5. I mean, then, it's pretty hard the rest of the way.
Right. Do you really trust a team like Carolina to get to 10? No way in hell. Atlanta, I'd have to see more out of them. By the way, Penix didn't practice yesterday or was limited, so that bears watching as well.
Okay.
Although,
they're playing the Dolphins.
With Cousins, they might be better. Who knows?
Right. They're playing the Dolphins. I actually thought that spread was going to be double digits. That's why I took it. I mean, I'm very surprised. Miami on the road, they just got humiliated by the Browns.
But Tua and McDaniel had that meeting Monday, David, where they went over film. By the way, we didn't even talk about this yesterday, and I think we kind of missed it. Did you catch Tua's comments?
As to why he didn't throw the ball to Waddle?
I'm not tall enough.
I didn't see him.
I'm not that tall. Okay.
I mean,
you've been running short, quick passes your entire career. You've never brought up once that
you're
the
short.
problem is I'm not tall enough.
Right. Does he want to be gone?
Yes. I believe that he does. I believe that he does not have a happy life playing for that football team. I think he'd be happier being a backup somewhere right now. I really do.
Does he realize how much money he loses when they get rid of him? I mean, because the idea is to, stay there for the length of the contract, at which point all of the money is guaranteed because you have fulfilled the entire contract.
Well, and David, if you fulfill the entire contract, the odds are you're going to get another one.
Right.
I mean, if you're a quarterback and you fulfill your contract, you typically get another one. I'm with you.
Whew.
Couple of poll questions today. One is over the gambling issue. One is over greasy food. Tomorrow is National Greasy Food Day. We put up bacon, wings, pizza, and burgers. Right now, pizza getting 38% of the vote. It's in the lead. Burgers second. Bacon and wings are tied. Someone on the Pelican Roofing of Florida text line nominated onion rings. What a great nomination. I love me an onion ring. Underrated side dish right there, David. Underrated.
But wouldn't it be like fries? If you have greasy onion rings, aren't they bad?
Well, it's that fine line of having some grease and crisp. I think that's what the fry guy is saying to us as well. I'm with you. I understand. I'm just saying onion rings are delicious. That's really all I'm saying. Wow. I wasn't wanting to get in a philosophical argument over the amount of grease on an onion ring. I just think it's an underrated side dish.
Listen, we know you don't do the fast food joints. I have to admit, though, for the soft spot that you have for onion rings, it is why I've always been surprised that your level of disgust towards Burger King is a -23.
Is there anything else there that's good? That's
all you need. If there's one item on the menu, that's reason enough to pull in the drive-thru. They're the only ones that offer onion rings.
So then I got to go to another drive-thru to get my burger? I mean, I'm just saying.
They're usually right next door or across the street.
All right. By the way, a lot of text. Pelican Roofing of Florida text line. 21,000 is the number. Miller is the keyword if you've never texted the show before. 21,000 is what you text to. If you've never texted the show, you need to text the keyword Miller to 21,000, and then you've opened the gate. Texters about the gambling today. Legalized gambling is a good thing. People have to follow the rules. When the rules are broken, hold them accountable. Never throw the baby out with the bathwater. Bad people do bad things. Adam Silver did a terrible job on the Rozier matter. Terrible. He should resign.
Can we just stop before you go any further?
Yeah.
Specifically about Adam Silver. If you give a damn about the NBA, or even if you don't, but if you give a damn, with the way Adam Silver handled/mishandled the Terry Rozier incident, how in the world could you have any faith that you're going to get an honorable decision involving Ballmer.
David, I'll take it a step further. I'm sure you've at least read or seen the clip. He was on McAfee earlier in the week before this all came out, talking about prop bets and how they have things under control. Really commit.
And by under control, does he mean the FBI lets us know how things are going?
I guess. Another texter says there may be no sports without gambling. People's interests could change. There would for sure be no horse racing. Gambling is older than chariot races and Roman gladiators. It's an integral part of society.
Wow.
A lot of people offering their thoughts on greasy food, by the way. But,
I went with bacon.
Did you? I went with burger, and my reason behind it is a greasy hamburger has cured many a hangover in my life.
Okay, fair enough.
Bacon's never done that. All of the above wasn't going to work. Another texter, whose interpreter is going to take the fall for the NBA cheating scandal?
Yeah, somebody said that yesterday, and absolutely outstanding.
So just a couple of texters on the Pelican Roofing of Florida text line. Gambling, the scandal, part of our poll question. With widespread legalized gambling, is it good or bad for sports? Good, the books can catch the odd bets. Bad, more normalcy leads to more problems. Very split vote today. 54-46 on the good side. And think about it. We're in the sports world. Miller and Moulton have been huge advocates of gambling since before it was legalized in Florida, since before it was legalized basically nationwide, when it was just Vegas. Miller and Moulton have always been proponents of gambling. We would bet money on 2 cockroaches crossing the floor without a problem. So you know where we stand. Where do you stand? And the fact that there are as many people saying it's bad, I'm surprised by that, because our audience is seemingly pretty pro gambling, David.
I think that the numbers will be skewed by at least 10% because we're in the immediate aftermath of the FBI sting. I think if we were to have asked this question with no story in the headlines, I think that gambling on sports would be seen by our audience in a better light.
And David, someone from the 904 texting of an onion ring place. I'll give it to you during the break.
Outstanding.
A Jacksonville Beach onion ring place.
Ooh, I may have been to it last night, by the way, if I know the place you're talking about.
All right, well, fine. I'll just say it. The Lighthouse Grill.
That's not where I was last night, but I was very close to it.
This person says get with blue cheese. Moulton's creeped out right now because he doesn't do blue cheese.
Yeah, take it easy now. Just first things
just
first.
Give me some ranch.
Or nothing at all. Onion rings can stand on their own, you know.
Yes, they can. Yes, they can. So it's National Greasy Food Day tomorrow. I would like, and David at one time used to post occasionally on X. For the most part, David's a reader on X, not a poster. During the draft, during the NFL draft, he used to go nuts. And he hasn't in a few years, and that's disappointing. But I've often thought you would do a hell of a job with your food choices during your travels. Skip all the crap of the games and who you're working with and all that stuff. Whatever. You knocking down 5 Conies. Did you go to Lafayette or American Coney?
I think it was technically American.
All right.
They're next door to one another.
Yes, they are.
But I went to American.
But you knocking down 5 Conies, that should have been a picture of the dogs. And, that to me, I think people would be interested in. But
either way, it was.
I know you don't want to fat shame yourself.
It was beautiful, though, when I went back Tuesday after the show. And, on the way to the airport, I stopped, had lunch. It was a block from the hotel. And they can put 4 Conies on one small plate. And they do it so artfully. I mean, it was beautiful. She handed me them, and I stared at them. And she said, "Is there anything wrong?" And I said, "This is like a Rembrandt." I go, "This is beautiful."
It really is.
I go, I looked at her and I go, and you're only charging $17 for this plate. I go, do you know how much a Rembrandt goes for?
So I was watching a video by, is it Jeff Pearlman, the author, sports writer who
Yeah.
And he was just, blood money, ripped every commissioner, every league. I mean, just went nuts and started talking about all the kids that are addicted to gambling, all the teenagers that are gambling online. I don't know how many, teenagers he knows. I know from my son who is begging for gambling to be legal in North Carolina. And I think it finally is. I don't know what to say. Trent, he's a younger kid, not a teenager, but our old producer, Trent, he doesn't make a lot of money. He gambles. He gambles a lot, but he gambles what he can afford. And he has fun with it and throws a couple bucks on a game here and a couple bucks on a parlay there. What is it you want them? I mean, do they have to save every dollar, or are they not allowed to have fun? And you can't. I mean, he tried to make the accusation that people can no longer enjoy sports unless they have action on a game.
Well, that I disagree with. Now, do I think that gambling has helped ratings? Yes, I do. Absolutely. I think gambling has always helped ratings. And I don't think now there's a lot of reasons why I think ratings on sports are largely better in the last few years than they had been previous. But I do think that gambling being in 40 plus states has helped.
But I don't, maybe for the, yes, certainly. And we've talked about it. If you're watching these Tuesday and Wednesday night college football games, I don't know how many people are watching them if they don't have a little action on them. I don't. Maybe you like football that much. I don't watch them. And I don't bet a ton. I now bet like Trent does. So I have a little fun. And if I win $10 here and $20 there, whatever. If I lose it, it's not the end of the world. My problem with gambling is that I got to where I hated losing the money more than I enjoyed winning it. And the losses were painful. So I don't gamble the way I once did. I wish there was a point that this show and David and I had enough money that I could stick a couple grand in an account for a football season and say, all right, let's see how we do this football season.
Right. Maybe next year.
Maybe
next year.
People wondering, do you like any sauce for your onion ring, by the way? Is there any dipping sauce?
Oh, yeah.
Are you a ketchup guy for an onion ring?
No. My mother is. She did it last night. But no, I don't do ketchup on onion rings. Okay. But there is a sauce that's kind of made for an onion ring that I think adds to an onion ring. But I have no problem demolishing a large plate of onion rings with nothing with it. No problem.
I'm not opposed to putting ketchup on an onion ring. On a hot dog? Hell no. On an onion ring? Sure. But yeah, a tangy, like a remoulade type sauce? Sure. Whatever you want to give me, I'm in.
Right. That's it. RCB said zesty.
It's a good word for you, David. It really is. Zesty.
Zesty. I used to have a zest for life. Now I just have a zest for onion rings.
Pat Kirwan coming up in a matter of minutes. We'll dive into the NFL, talk about the Chargers win last night, look ahead to the slate of action this Sunday and Monday in the National Football League. It's with Pat Kirwan, and it's next on Miller and Moulton. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Let's talk the big differences between Floormeisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
This year during Thanksgiving week, Fort Myers takes the national stage, hosting not one but two elite women's college basketball tournaments, the Fort Myers Tip-Off and Coconut Hoops, both featuring Power Four teams and nationally ranked programs. Few places in the country can showcase this level of talent. We're proud that Fort Myers is one of them. Don't miss your chance. For tickets, go to visitfortmyers.com/basketball. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
Todd and I are local. We're involved in our community. We live here, we work here, we're in our showroom every day. We love working with our guests. We love giving back to our community.
We are so excited about our new store. Same location, same team, new environment. Every day is like a grand reopening. Absolutely stunning when you walk through our doors now. Come experience the newness of the Diamond District. See what we've done.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Morning, Pat.
Good morning, guys.
Sorry I sent you the link late there.
Yeah, well, I was just about to text you and go, have I been fired? Let me know.
So I'm waiting to hear, but I found this, like I was telling you in the text, Pat, I found this guy online that's a commercial fisherman, and he sells stone crabs. I went back and forth with him a couple messages, and he's like, yeah, you can either first come, first serve, or you can pay me ahead of time and lock him in. So I sent him the money ahead of time. I'm waiting to hear. It's supposed to be today or tomorrow. I'm guessing sometime today. Because it's usually Friday afternoons and Saturday mornings, and I can't do it Saturday morning. So I'm hoping I get the text today. But they're literally $10 a pound cheaper than the stores.
Oh, we're on.
Exactly.
I'll be joining that party.
I'm very, very hopeful and very excited that this works out.
Yeah, me too. It's like return to the old days.
Exactly.
It's been a while, and when after you sent me the text, I started thinking we haven't really had them.
No, it's been a couple 3 years.
Yeah, I thought it was like 3 or 4 years.
I was at my daughter's soccer practice last night and talking to one of the dads and who listens, and he goes, I really like Pat on your show, and we started BS, and I said, yep, Pat. I go, here's a guy that worked with Bill Parcells, works with Cower every week. I go, the things that get Pat excited are Everblades games. And the fact that when I used to sell stone crabs, that he had the code to my garage so he could come in and get what he wanted.
Yes. I think about that freezer a lot. The key to happiness was in a freezer in a garage.
Yep. I'm with you.
Yep. There was nothing better than going to your house, lifting that up and seeing more than I needed.
Did you like Joe Flacco's comments about dining alone?
Well, I hope he was telling the truth because he's enjoying his bachelor life. Joe, the mellow one.
All right, Pat, I need a guaranteed winner. I don't need it against the number. I just need a guaranteed winner out of this three. Who would you choose? Bengals, Falcons, Or what's my other one that I've got this week that I looked at? Bengals,
Patriots.
Bengals, Falcons, Patriots. If you had to guarantee one just to win, who would you take?
Is this your survivor pool?
Yep.
I said Atlanta.
Yeah, let me think about it. Of course, you made it hard. It's not an easy group of guys. Yeah, I would take Atlanta. They're at home. That place is. I mean, I don't think the Jets are going to win either, but Cleveland could give New England some problems.
That's a good defense. They just can't score. I know.
Yeah. No, I take the Falconians.
All right.
Hey, after last night, I'm going to miss the debate Tua versus Herbert. That's been on our show for 5 years.
Yeah, that's over.
That is over.
Yeah. I'll tell you what else is over. Letting the Ravens trade away Oweh. Did you see what he did last night? Oh, my God. What are we doing here? They can't win, and they trade away Oweh as a sack, 3 tackles, a tackle for loss, a hit on the quarterback.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
We are halfway home on this Football Friday.
Football Friday.
At least in Jacksonville, Tampa, St. Pete, Fort Myers, Naples. Final hour of the show. Live Oak Lake City and surrounding areas. Port Charlotte, Venice and surrounding areas. Miller and Moulton. MillerandMoulton.com. Miller_Moulton on X. Pat Kirwan joins us once again. He does so twice a week during the season, courtesy of Pinchers. Tampa to Key West and about a dozen locations in between. Pinchers, where you can't fake fresh. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Enjoyed last night. It's amazing. Like 2 weeks ago, I was thinking, man, the Chargers are done. They're going to fall apart without tackles. Then all of a sudden, Alt shows up, and a lot of other things look real good. And then the running, well, they can't run the ball. The 2 running backs are down. Well, that wasn't true. Run for over 200 yards. So there was a lot to like. And I got to say, I wish more teams had the common sense they have. When they got in trouble and they didn't think they could run, they got a fullback back in the game, and they were running 1985 offense. And it was fun to watch. I watched the fullback the whole time. He was obliterating linebackers who don't take on fullbacks anymore.
There's no doubt there. You know, we thought the Vikings had a pretty good roster. Is this just a quarterback problem, or are there more problems going on with the Vikings? Because I think they barely ran the ball at all last night. I know it's dictated by getting down early, but they threw it far too much. Wentz was banged up the whole game. When you look at the Vikings, what are the problems? How deep are they? And are we now not thinking this is a playoff team or a team that could contend for the playoffs?
Well, there's a lot of answers. Number one, no one knows if McCarthy's any good. We're going to find out now. That's the first thing. Number two, they had the problem that the Chargers had. They don't have tackles. Darisaw got cut out of there right away. They don't have O'Neal didn't play, and that's what it looks like for almost every team. Excuse me, if your tackles don't play. The troubling thing about them for me is that they've got Jefferson, Addison, and Hockenson, and they have now 4 touchdowns between the 3 of them. That if your money and your production is tied up in those 3 receivers, and they're not getting in the end zone, and their red zone stuff looks bad. So I don't blame Wentz. I still think we'll find out in about 2 or 3 weeks if Wentz is better than McCarthy, because your question is about making the playoffs this year, and I don't know that McCarthy's giving you a better chance. That'd be my observation of that kid.
Yeah, but don't they have to play
Oh, they
him?
have to play him.
Yeah.
But they're gonna lose any chance of being a playoff team. And this is what happens to people. Well, we got to get him in the game. I'm dealing with this subject with about 5 teams right now. Yeah, as long as you don't call this show screaming and yelling that your record's 6 wins for the year.
Well, listen, we're big fans of, Kevin O'Connell. I'm not as big a fan of the GM in Minnesota, but we debated pretty heavily. When you have a quarterback who's effective, are you sure you're going to get rid of him? Yeah, he's going to cost you a lot more money, but he can play. Like the Niners, they were invested in Lance, but Purdy delivered the goods, and they said to Trey, sorry, we're going with the guy who's delivered the goods, not with you, who may or may not be able to deliver the goods. I mean, could we look back 2-3 years from now and say, the Vikings just should have paid Sam Darnold?
Absolutely. We should say it now. Go ask Seattle. They're tickled to death is what they've got. And you could have franchise tagged them and done it 1 year at a time, David. 1 year, he replicates what he did in 24. You tag him again. So what if the kid's not getting on the field? But you develop him. Oh, that's right. That's how Rodgers and got along with Love, right? Just leave him back there and wait till his turn. But this compulsion to put first-round picks on the field ASAP and then live with about, 50% failure rate. They had a nice team. And as soon as our friend Sam Darnold had a bad game, the ghost in the closet came right out. Oh, that's the real Sam Darnold.
And I feel badly, Mark, for the general manager of the Vikings, because also technically they also had Daniel Jones on the roster at the end of last year, remember? So they've let them both go and combine those two.
You feel bad for him or you blame him? I'm sorry.
Because I don't think there was a situation where you could have kept Jones. Okay, you would have had to promise him an open competition with J.J. McCarthy. They weren't willing to do that. And if they kept Darnold, then Jones isn't staying. So I really didn't see a way. But it's a bad look. Okay, it just is. Right now, those two quarterbacks are 11-3.
Right. Well, Pat, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't Minnesota offer Jones more money than Indianapolis did? And he chose Indianapolis because he thought he had a much better chance to play.
He knew that he could beat out Anthony. That wasn't going to be hard to do. And anyone who studied Anthony knows, I don't think so. Yeah, he ran smartly to the place where he was going to play. And now, what kind of contract does he position himself for now?
See, I'll tell you what, though. I know we're sidebarring as opposed to getting to games, and we will. But if you're Daniel Jones, you already bent an organization over the chair and got maximum dollars from an organization. And look how it worked out. Okay, if I'm the Colts, I look at them and I go, we're giving you the Baker Mayfield contract. And Daniel, don't be dumb enough to turn it down.
You're talking about right now?
Yeah.
With each passing week, his dollars are going up.
Well, but I'm fine. I'll tell you what. You go find a better situation. Seriously, Daniel, you did this once before. Okay, Daniel, we're offering you the job in a stress-free situation on a good team, and we're offering you $35 million a year. Take it, or we're going to find someone else.
They feel scared to death to find someone else. But here's an interesting scenario, since you like him. McCarthy plays the rest of the year, and he's bad. Then they call Daniel Jones and say, "You'd like to come here for $50 million a year?"
Well, we'll have plenty of time for this.
Yes. All right, Pat, this is an interesting week in that there are a bunch of games that are huge spreads, 6.5 or more, games that, Vegas thinks are pretty one-sided. And one of the ones, we looked at already were the Bills in Carolina. Now, I know Bryce Young didn't practice yesterday, and I know he's a little banged up, but the Bills have not looked like world beaters, and Carolina's been pretty damn good at home. How sure are we that the Bills can go to Carolina and thump the Carolina Panthers?
I'm very confident they will. I'm not a big believer in Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton, as the starter in Carolina, as you know, was 1-5. He's 7-13 in his last 20 starts versus Josh Allen. Josh Allen now with a sense of urgency because they're behind the New England Patriots. I think you're going to see a very good performance from them and James Cook. I like what's going on with the two running backs in Carolina, but I asked Jim Miller the same question I'll ask you. Rico Dowdell, Chuba Hubbard, and the kid in Buffalo, James Cook. Who's the best back? James Cook.
Oh, yeah.
Best
But
quarterback, best back. They'll be fine in a game like this. Carolina has not stepped up to the big time in any way, shape, or form, in my mind.
is the Bills' defense, though, slowly getting exposed? We've said we think they're average to slightly above average, and that's it. And Josh Allen covers up for a pretty unit. If Josh Allen can't cover up for that unit gets exposed. Carolina could run that ball. That's a small defense, Pat, that they could run that ball right down their throat.
Well, let's just stop for a second, and I'll ask one question. Are you taking Carolina in this game?
Yeah, and the points, absolutely.
Good. Oh, you can have your 7.5 points, 8 points, whatever it's going to be. But that's a reflection, too, of not just gambling, but the real perception of who Carolina is. I'll be very happy to take Buffalo.
All right. Another game. First off, is Lamar going to play?
Yeah.
All right. He's never played the Bears. It's one of the, I think, 2 teams that he's never played against. We've talked about this a million times. Until you see Lamar, you can't prepare for Lamar. But are they preparing, or are they going to see the real Lamar, if you know what I mean?
I think so. I think they were very cautious with Lamar. I think they waited and they can't wait any longer, and they know it. They can't go to 1-6. They'll be fine. And that 24-3 record, I think that's what the record is now against the NFC. There's a reality to that. There's no way they can duplicate them in practice. We discuss this all the time. And they'll have a problem with these guys. I like Chicago, but I don't really love them. And I got into a big argument with a guy the other day. He said, I love when people say this. It just sets my hair on fire. You're not giving the Bears enough respect. You earn respect. You're having a nice little run here, but who have you played? Please. And I like Caleb. I think Caleb's getting better. I'll tell you, the protection's getting better, significantly better. You go back and look at the beginning of the year, and that guy got sacked, and his sack ratio is 1 every 11. In the last 4 games, it's 1 every 25. He's doing a nice job with that part of it, and he's running less, which is another good sign with him. You go look at the first 2 games where losses, 11 runs. He's running all over the place. He's run for 21 yards in the winning streak. That's it. I like that. I like the protection. They're good on the turnover business on defense. But Baltimore, I don't know. I don't think I'll bet against Baltimore until they lose again, because their backs are to the wall. And when the foolish Bears, I almost called them stupid, I should have, started making fun of them playing ping pong, you do not mess around with the Ravens. They are a dead serious football team. I guarantee you, Ben Johnson was not happy. His players thought that was funny.
Got about a minute. What do you make of the whole we're removing the ping pong tables and what have you? I mean, is that
childish to me? Like, I get them doing it. I don't know. The players claim they did it. All I said was they won a lot of games with ping pong tables in the building. And number 2, if they win this game by a lot, are we putting the ping pong tables back in the building? I have a hard time with child-like reactions to things. Okay, you have to go to your room now. You're punished.
Well,
nonsense.
Exactly, Pat. We've called this organization the best-run organization in football now for a decade. I mean, there are others that are right there with them, but we think of the Ravens pretty highly. We don't think of the Ravens acting this way.
No, I'm with you 100%. And I go there enough to see how professionally handled everything is there. Their PR department and how the players embrace the media, how they practice, how these guys feel, how lucky they are to be Ravens, how much they love the owner. There's a lot of things that are positive. So if the players decided we got to do this, fine. But I'm telling you, I don't think it has any real effect.
More with Pat on the other side. Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
This year during Thanksgiving week, Fort Myers takes the national stage, hosting not one but two elite women's college basketball tournaments, the Fort Myers Tip-Off and Coconut Hoops, both featuring Power 4 teams and nationally ranked programs. Few places in the country can showcase this level of talent. We're proud that Fort Myers is one of them. Don't miss your chance. For tickets, go to visitfortmyers.com/basketball. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
This is Miller and Moulton.
David, what's your itinerary this weekend?
It's excellent. My travel the next 3 weeks is pretty reasonable.
Yeah, this is like the Southeast Conference Tour.
Well, it's about as good as I think I can get. I'm headed to Iowa through Chicago today. I'm flying to Chicago, driving 3 hours to Iowa City. Then Sunday, I'll just take a leisurely drive 4 hours to Kansas City.
Nice.
Next week, it's Maryland. So I fly direct to DC and drive 15 minutes, and then Dallas, and then home. And then the following one is back to Iowa, most likely, and then a 3-hour drive to Lambeau.
Yeah, you love the 2 and 3 hour drive stuff.
I do.
And you can get it direct from Dallas to Jacksonville, right?
Yes.
American Airlines?
Yes. So, yeah, I'm direct to DC, direct to Chicago, direct to Dallas. So I do have to take Delta through Atlanta from Kansas City to get home.
Yeah.
But that's not bad.
No.
So my travel the next 3 weeks is my best travel of the year.
Yeah. You like to save that best travel for the snowy season. Well, we're in Buffalo next week. And then 2 weeks after that, we're in Denver for the Kansas City. We're going to see Kansas City live 3 times.
So when you say in Denver, so you're on location for these?
Yes. We're on location in Buffalo, and then we're on location in Denver. They just added Denver.
Well, because the Buffalo one's the Chiefs, right?
Yep.
Chiefs, Bills, and then Broncos, Chiefs.
Yep.
Yeah, it's almost as if the networks have figured out the Chiefs equal ratings.
Yeah. And that means we'll be back in Kansas City for the championship game.
Well, we'll see about that.
Pat, do you think Wentz was too injured to stay in the game last night?
Yeah.
I was surprised they didn't put the Gophers kid in when it got out of hand.
Yep. How are those road teams doing on Thursdays? 2 and 5.
Well, it'll go to 3 and 5 next week because Miami's hosting Baltimore.
Oh, yeah. Miami.
It's why I thought McDaniel was going to get fired when he lost to the Browns because I just figured that Stephen Ross would try to improve the atmosphere for that nationally televised Thursday night game.
Yep. If he wants people in the stands, he needed to fire the coach.
And to keep the people that are there from not being very hostile and bringing signs. And I mean, Amazon's going to have no choice but to embrace the negativity during that game if Lamar's kicking the tar out of them.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, here's the call of the day yesterday, Mark. Get ready to laugh. Part of it's true, part of it's sad, but his, I always say to people, you don't tell me what they should do. Tell me what you're going to do after you fire the guy. So this guy calls in and says, Pete should fire Chip Kelly right away. I don't know if I disagree with that, but I wasn't going to say it. I said, well, that's cute. Who's he going to hire? He goes, he calls up the Dolphins, gets them to cut Mike McDaniel, and Pete hires Mike as the OC. I go, okay. I'm glad I found out what makes you tick.
This is why I try to catch you at the top of every hour, because you're not taking calls. I listen for you and Jim, not the Yahoos. I know why. I get it. Show's very successful. I don't want you to change anything, but I love the top of the hour and I love the interviews.
Well,
I love Mondays at 3 because you got Bulls right off the hop. That's great. Well, here's when we get them, right? Start of the show on Monday. Let's go.
Yeah, Todd. I get you. You've said it to me before. I get it, but there's lots of other shows that have no callers.
None at all. Now
they're afraid to take
nobody else takes a call on that network but you.
Well, they're afraid to because they're going to get asked a question they can't answer. Richie Gadden can answer them.
Welcome back to Miller
Partner can't.
Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
Our remaining moments with Pat Kirwan. His weekly appearances brought to us courtesy of Pinchers. Pat and all our guests join us on the American Paint Supplies Hotline, your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. It's the season for the Texans at home against the Niners. They're 2-4. If they get it, they've actually got, Jags at home, Titans. They can kind of get back in the mix. The Niners and the Texans in Houston, how do you see it?
Well, the 49ers have proven their resilience and how they can handle life with lots of injuries. The Houston team is significant. There's something really wrong with those guys. And they fired a coach last year, and it didn't get better. Stroud's 7-12 in his last 19 games. He had 3 game-winning drives as a rookie. He had 2 last year. He doesn't appear he's going to have any this year the way he's going. I don't trust Houston, home or not. It doesn't matter to me. San Francisco knows they're in a big race, and they got a lot of winning guys. I don't know how McCaffrey can keep going. He had 185 touches. He's on pace for more touches than he ever had. We've talked about this before. When he got hurt, he had, I think it was 2019, he had 407 touches. The next year he played 3 games. And it happened again, I think, in 2022. And he had a big year and he couldn't play again. So they're wearing him down, but he's not worn out yet. So McCaffrey and the boys will do fine. And as soon as their tight end came back on the field, the running game looked just like it used to look. So I like San Francisco in this game. They're a team full of winners.
What do you think about Dallas's chances in Denver? I don't like them. I think Dallas will get exposed defensively. How do you see it?
Yeah, I think everyone sees it your way, Mark. It's their defense is crazy bad. But they can score a bunch of points. And I wonder sometimes there's a couple of different versions of Denver. At least we know that Dallas is score, and then try to hold on, which they don't do a very good job of. Denver should win the game, but we all 3 of us have seen Denver games this year. It shocked us they didn't look very good. So would I take a chance on the upset special? If you asked me for one, I probably would.
What do we think's going on? Is it the quarterback or is it Payton's play calling, because they've had 2 wins, give them credit, wins at Philly and home against the Giants, in which for 3 quarters, Pat, they were bad. And then they were dynamic. I mean, whose fault is that?
Well, whose fault is it? I don't know. I don't know what Nix is checking in and out of at the line of scrimmage, so I don't know to blame him or not. The play calling looks average at best. They're an interesting team. You just described the Bucks to me in the same breath, right? Late comebacks, all this other stuff. You live by the sword, you die by the sword. Denver's got a good defense. I don't know if I'd call it great, but their numbers say they're on the verge of being great. I think that bails them out and keeps them around. But Nix is a sophomore quarterback. That's what he is. And look at these guys. Is Jaden Daniels, before he got hurt, was he playing great? No. And I say this a lot, and people don't want to hear it. These defenses spend the whole offseason, after Bo Nix became rookie Bo Nix, every one of their opponents dedicated significant time to finding out how to play the guy. And look, I got to sign Michael Vick after his rookie season. My job for the whole winter, besides my job, was to find out everything everyone did to Michael Vick. And that meant long conversations with Monty Kiffin, who was blitzing corners. Monty gave us the best advice. Do not blitz anyone that's not as fast as him. And if you have nobody as fast as him, don't blitz at all. And then he started talking about how to handle him when he retreats. So I that was my job. And so I have great respect for all these teams that have to play young quarterbacks. They go all over the place to find out the new game plan for these kids. And I think Bo Nix and Jaden Daniels are facing that right now.
And Drake May didn't play as much till later, so they're still getting a book on him and the success that he is having. You mentioned the Bucks and all their comebacks. They go to New Orleans. It's a division game. It's on the road. I know the Saints are hot garbage, but no Evans for the foreseeable future. No Godwin. No Bucky Irvin. I mean, are the Bucks? They should win, but will they win, Pat?
Yeah, look, Baker's 4-1 against New Orleans. In 5 games, he threw 12 touchdown passes. Yes, some of the receivers that caught those passes aren't there, but we had a conversation 3 weeks ago when he had to run a 2-minute drill to win the game, and he had no starters in the receiver group. And I went through that with Todd. You like the 3 o'clock Todd thing. I said, Todd, who are these kids? Because none of your starters were available for that 2-minute drill. And that's when he said to me, which I said last week on the show, he goes, we run the 2-minute drill almost every day, and we do it with all the backups too, because we know in a normal game we're going to land up losing someone. So everyone was prepared to go. I like Baker in this game a lot, and I can't ever really think. Now, Jim Miller wants to take New Orleans, but he'll chicken out on Saturday and not do it. He loves to tell me stuff on Thursdays he never does on Saturdays.
Bucks need to start running the ball. They attempted 11 rushes. They took a kneel down on the final play of the game. They attempted 11 rushes against Detroit. I know they're not running the ball the way they did last year, but they need to start running the ball. Baker is banged up. They're playing with second string wide receivers. Run the football. All right, Sunday night football.
Yeah.
Green Bay at Pittsburgh. Obviously, we all know the overriding storyline of this game. It's overriding the fact that these are 2 first-place teams. How do you see it?
Well, Pittsburgh is now running the ball better. The first 3 weeks, they were running the ball 63 yards a game. Terrible. But the last 3 games, they're up to 126 yards a game. They are running better, and that's a good thing to do. For them, especially, take some of the pressure off the quarterback. I love the receiver distribution for Pittsburgh. That's the beauty of Rodgers. Wide receivers 38, tight ends 44, running backs 38. So he's spreading the ball out. I'm sure he's going to have to come from behind to win this game. Nobody likes Pittsburgh in this game. Everybody likes Green Bay. I happen to like Pittsburgh. I'm going to take him in this game, not because Rodgers, He and Flacco are on the revenge tour. Kind of feels like a concert series with those two. They're all playing teams that they played for before. I like Pittsburgh in this game. I will say this: play Herbig more than Highsmith, and I like Highsmith, but Herbig to me is a much better impact player. So that's my advice. And then Josh Jacobs, what's going on with his running? Where is it?
Well, I think the other side of this is the Pittsburgh defense has been embarrassed a lot.
Yep.
I need to see a much better performance on that side of the ball, Pat.
I do too. But if Jacobs is ineffective running, which he has been recently, and you got that, I don't bet on Jordan Love very often. That's not my style. Josh Jacobs I don't think he has a game yet with even 100 yards. And I think he's a terrific back. So why? I'll ask myself the question. Why isn't their ability to get 100 yards rushing? I don't know. Green Bay fell in love with themselves after they beat Detroit to start the season. But I have a feeling that they are just settling to what I really think they are, and that's a wild card team.
He's Pat Kirwan. He hosts Moving the Chains. He co-hosts it with Jim Miller. It airs on NFL radio weekdays 3 to 7, and during the season, Saturdays 2 to 5. Then on Sundays, he's an instrumental part of CBS's NFL Today show. Pat joins us twice a week, Tuesdays and Fridays, courtesy of Pinchers. Tampa to Key West, all points in between. Pinchers, where you can't fake fresh. Pat, be well, safe travels, enjoy your hockey. We'll talk next week.
Yep. Fellas, enjoy your trips, David and Mark. You're on a mission for you and me. Don't fail.
No doubt, Pat. I will take care of it. I will definitely take care of it.
Putting the pressure on you there.
I'll take it.
Made you the starting quarterback and said, "Don't lose me the game, bud."
I can go 2-1.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Got a cracked window or foggy glass? Don't wait for the next storm to make it worse. Your local Glass Doctor Home and Business is just down the road and ready to help. From leaky frames to shattered panes, we've got the tools and the know-how to get your home or business storm ready. With flexible scheduling and our done right promise, you'll be in good hands. So before or after the weather hits, call your neighbors at Glass Doctor.
Glass Doctor, Glass Doctor. Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh, yeah.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Left Twix, I know you said to Twitch chat, I think they're a Super Bowl contender, period, because that defense is that good. Here's my rebuttal. if you were to say they're not, who then in the AFC is not named Kansas City? We sold on Buffalo? Sure as hell aren't sold on the Steelers. The Colts until they prove it in January? I mean, the AFC is pretty wide open. I mean, the NFC is too. I think there are better teams this year in the NFC, but I think the AFC is pretty damn wide open.
Yeah, I'm getting the sense that Pat thinks the Chiefs are about ready to run the table.
Yep, I do too.
I think he thinks they've figured it out, gotten some people back, and
so the Colts, just to break it down, Left Twix, they pounded the Dolphins. We now know the Dolphins are one of the worst teams in the league. They beat the Broncos in a game that, wow, they really got the benefit of a call in that game. They whooped the Titans. They suck. Lost to the Rams, a good team. Pounded the Raiders. Horrible team. Escaped against the Cardinals. Nice win against the Chargers when they were banged up. That's a good win. But, I mean, we'll find out about the Colts. They go to Kansas City coming off a bye week. They go to Pittsburgh next week. I mean, they play at Seattle. There are some games that we're going to find out a little bit more about the Colts. I do think the Colts can be a 1 seed like Tennessee was a few years ago. I do think that schedule will allow them to be a 1 seed. But I don't think anybody will think they're the best team in the AFC. Javier, I think that, yes, in a way, I this is a divorce that needs to happen. I don't know how they get the money because LSU always screams that they're poor, but he doesn't want to be there. They don't want him there. And I think everything that you have in there, I don't think he'd be fired after the game either. He might. But I'm with you. I don't think he would get it after the game.
Javier, I just don't believe LSU is A&M. I don't believe that they'll cut him loose and pay him $70 million to go away. I think it's kind of what Mark hinted at. That Brian will just realize he needs to leave. But
which you never get me to do in a million years. If I was in when there's a buyout that big, and would you pay me?
The problem is I don't know if there's a job that Brian would leave for that's open.
Because Penn State doesn't want him. That's not a personality that fits with what Penn State wants. And that didn't work out well, Left Twix. That's the thing.
I think they paid Ed O half of what they'd have to pay Brian Kelly.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Thanks for being with us.
David, there's a story that I've wanted to get to for a while, and there's a lot going on in the sports world. Obviously, the huge, shocking news about the NBA that we've spent a lot of time talking about today. It's a football Friday, so we've been talking football a lot, and this does have a football vibe to it. Did you hear what happened in Lubbock?
The fajitas?
Well, the tortillas, not the
I'm
fajitas.
Sorry.
Yeah, you've got greasy food on the brain. It's okay, David.
Right. Well, it is
Get your part of your Mexican food straight. Your Tex-Mex. You have your tortillas. You need all of it, and you do need tortillas for fajitas. But yes, Texas Tech had a tradition of throwing tortillas after their first score. They have had to ban tortillas from the stadium because they were penalized twice and fined for objects being thrown on the field in their last game. They beat Kansas 42-17. And Oklahoma State's coming to town, where I believe Texas Tech is a 30-plus point favorite in the game. What's the world coming to when you can't throw a tortilla anymore?
I agree.
Who's getting hurt from a thrown? If they were frozen, sure. But a nice soft, a soft flour or even a corn tortilla. What the hell is going on?
I agree.
There's a little spot in Old Bonita where I pick up, and they sell them by the half kilo or the kilo. And there's nothing better than ordering things by the kilo, even though you're getting food. Can't throw a tortilla. What the hell is going on?
I know.
The best part is the Big 12 Conference approved a policy to penalize teams for throwing objects on the field before the season. There was one dissenting vote. It was the AD from Texas Tech.
There you go.
He even said, he goes, this situation is on me. I leaned into this of throwing tortillas at the beginning of the football season. Now I must ask everyone to stop, and I must ask our staff to enforce this on game days. I may try to steal something from A&M if I'm Texas Tech and have some sort of Friday pep rally where I encourage and get a tortilla company to sponsor.
Ooh, I like it. Like the bonfire.
Well, and they used to do this, and I'm a minor league hockey guy at heart. One of the fun things that they may still do in some places, and I'd seen across many minor league arenas rather, when I was broadcasting minor league hockey, is that you would buy a rubber puck before the game. And it was like a 50-50 drawing. Half of it would go to a charity, or the team kept it, or whatever the case may be. And they would put a bullseye being the center ice logo. And whoever came closest to the center ice dot won the money with their rubber puck. I would do the same thing with the tortillas.
Takes quite a
look at that. Look at that. I'm turning it into gambling and money.
Yeah.
What a day to do that.
Which leads us right to one of our poll questions. Do you think gambling is good or bad for sports?
It stuck pretty close throughout the show. 54% for, 46% against.
And it's National Greasy Food Day tomorrow, but obviously we don't have a show tomorrow, so we have made it National Greasy Food Weekend, if you will. And we give you 4 choices as to your favorite greasy food.
Pizza edging out burgers at the moment. Bacon and wings tied for third. All right, we've got a pretty damn good college football weekend ahead of us, David. It kicks off at noon with 2 big games. That's right, I said 2 big games. Maybe you're only paying attention to one, that being the Ole Miss-Oklahoma game. But South Florida's got a mighty nooner at Memphis. They're a 6.5-point favorite. Memphis's quarterback got hurt last week. He's listed as questionable. No word on whether or not their QB is going to play. Memphis lost to UAB. This game would get South Florida very close to locking up a spot in the Athletic Conference Championship.
Well, we said it leading into the season. We thought South Florida was going to be a good team, but we're like, man, can they navigate this schedule? We all know how they started the year. Boise, at Florida, at Miami, and they navigated that to a tune of 2-1. Well, they've won 4 games since, but including going 2 at the time, unbeaten North Texas. Now here's Memphis, considered preseason best team in the conference. They're playing them on the road. They still have to go to Navy. Don't laugh. They're undefeated, and they were preseason top 3 in the league. Mark, you're right. They go to Memphis and win. They're going to be in the conference championship game playing for a spot in the playoff. This is something Golish is yet to do, is win the big conference road game. South Florida has not been a player in the American. They are now for the first time under Golish. This would solidify it.
When you think of both of these teams, you think of really high-scoring teams, and justifiably so. In Division I football, South Florida, number 7 in the country in scoring points. Memphis, 14. But Memphis defensively has been strong. They're 24th in the nation in points allowed, 18 points a game. So with South Florida, I think having an advantage if Memphis' quarterback, whether he plays or not, was banged up, I think there's a big advantage to the Bulls' offense versus Memphis' offense. But can they score against Memphis? Can the Memphis D slow down a South Florida team that outside of Miami and Florida, no one else has been able to do? Noon kick on Saturday.
On ESPN2. Any concern about the Canes bouncing back? I mean, they're 30-point favorites. So
no, they're playing Stanford, for crying out loud.
Okay, well, Florida State was a 17-point favorite at Stanford, but I'm
Florida State's looking like they were we got tricked in the Alabama game. We got flat out tricked. They're not that good.
UCLA, 0-4 under the old coach, 3-0 under the interim coach. Nico, I am a leaving. That's how we pronounced his name when he started the year 0-4. Now you have to pronounce it the right way because he and they are 3-0 since the coaching change. And now they go to Indiana. And Signetti keeps referring to UCLA as undefeated UCLA. That's what he's selling his team. He's like, they're 3-0. They're undefeated. The team we're playing bears no resemblance to the team in September. The team we're playing is an undefeated Big Ten team. Do you think he effectively does the sales job for the Hoosiers?
Yeah, I think he does. I think he's done a great job all year. I think, if he didn't, he's going to be up there for Coach of the Year again because of the job he's doing. And I don't see them having any problem with UCLA. They are, by the way, a 25.5-point favorite in that game. I don't think I'm speaking out of school when I think that they're going to win the game.
The exact number that Penn State was favored over UCLA. And that we all know, how that ended for the game and one of the two coaches involved.
Does Ole Miss lose 2 in a row? They're on the road at Oklahoma. Oklahoma's a near touchdown favorite in that game. Lane scored touchdowns on his first 5 possessions against Georgia, but the Dogs defense that held him to 2 3-and-outs and then on downs to finish the game, basically. Now they play Oklahoma, whose defense is really good.
Really good. Like top 5 in the country good.
Right.
At Oklahoma, listen, you and I both love Lane. You and I would love for Lane to end up with the Gators. Lane has not won many big road games at Ole Miss. Okay, had a big shot last week and had nearly a double-digit lead going to the 4th. They lost to Georgia. Now they got to come back the very next week and play Oklahoma, whose quarterback should be a hell of a lot better than what he was a couple of weeks ago. A lot of people, Mark, for what it's worth. The bigger money people in the industry who pick games for a living against the number, love Oklahoma this week. The money has moved the spread a point and a half so far. They're all over the Sooners.
Yeah, and I think they're right, but I'm pulling for Lane. You picked Vandy in your Fantastic 5+3, and I think the reasons that you did are right. Missouri's not played anyone, and they've played a bunch of home games. You know, this is a road game. Yeah, it's Vandy. It's not a difficult environment, but Vandy will support. And I think Vandy I'm with you. I think they take care of business.
Well, also, just quick comparison score. You know, Missouri beat South Carolina at home by 9. Vandy went to South Carolina, beat them by 24. You know, non-conference, you know, Vandy's got better wins. I mean, I could argue Missouri's best win is over Kansas. I don't know if Vandy's a legit top 10 team, but I do think they're a legit top 20 team. Okay, Missouri hasn't come close to beating a top 20 team this year.
No doubt. A game that not many of you pay attention to, but they are undefeated. 11th ranked BYU is an underdog at Iowa State. Iowa State's disappointed this year. They really have. They started out strong and they've made mistakes and they've lost close games. Can they win what seems to be a close game against a good BYU team with the young quarterback?
If this game was not following the Holy War, BYU would be the team favored. This is clearly people expecting a huge letdown for BYU because they just came off playing their, quote, biggest game of the year. And now they're going on the road where I believe back-to-back, Mark, they go Iowa State and Texas Tech. Iowa State defensively really injured. Okay, their linebacking core is in shambles. Their secondary is not in good shape. This figures to be very high scoring.
A&M travels to LSU. We were asked during the break, if Brian Kelly loses this game, is this the end for Brian Kelly? And the person even said, I don't think he gets fired after the game, but is it the end for Brian Kelly? I think it would be the beginning of the end. I really do. I think LSU would figure out a way to get the money to get Kelly out of there. They expect more, and I know there have been injuries, and they didn't make the right transfers on the offensive line. But A&M defensively has been suspect, particularly on the road. Can they stop LSU enough? Because I think LSU's defense is pretty decent.
In their final 5 games, right now they'd be underdogs in 3 of them. They're a home dog to A&M. They're going to be a dog at Alabama. And right now, they'd be a dog at Oklahoma to end the regular season. Mark, I think Brian Kelly has to finish 9-3 for the relationship to continue long term. I don't think they will buy him out after this year unless he loses all 3 games I just mentioned. Loses at home to A&M, loses to Bama, loses to Oklahoma. A 7-5 season will lead to a divorce. 8-4 will lead to we just need to stay married for the kids. 9-3, the relationship can be saved.
Kentucky gave Oklahoma or gave Texas all they wanted. Can they do the same to Tennessee? I don't think so. Like I'm looking at this game at 8.5. It scares me with 8.5, but if I were to bet it, I'd bet Tennessee.
I don't trust Kentucky offensively can score enough points, and I do trust that Tennessee will score in the upper 20s, and Kentucky's offense is not good enough.
You know, just because I pay a tiny bit of attention because my wife went to school there, interim coaches have done all right. Look at UAB, look at UCLA. Colorado State plays Wyoming on the road. This is actually a rivalry between these two schools. This rivalry. Is a big deal to these two schools. I got to sneak in suspicion Colorado State with the interim coach wins. I got a feeling, David.
I thought
don't follow either enough, but I got a feeling.
I thought you were going to play it. Okay. I looked at it as well and went, interim coaching.
By the way, our buddy Trent texted me before the show and said, unless Michigan State gets a win, it's the end of Smith at Michigan State. They're a 14.5-point dog to Michigan. They ain't beating the Blue. I don't care where the game's being played.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000 depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you can be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. capecops.com. Be brave, be best. Be Cape.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
Let's talk the big differences between Floormeisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeister's prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to nolanagency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or nolanagency.com.
It's the event everyone will be talking about when college basketball's biggest names take the court in Fort Myers. The Michigan State Spartans and the North Carolina Tar Heels headline the 2025 Skechers Fort Myers Tip-Off. Witness the excitement live and in person this Thanksgiving week at Suncoast Arena. The stage is set. Will you be there? Lock in your spot now at FortMyersTipoff.com/go. That's FortMyersTipoff.com/go. See you Thanksgiving week at Suncoast Arena.
Football season is back and celebrate your game day with Jimmy the Beef Guy. We're talking tender, juicy Chicago beef sandwiches. Whether your party's for 10, 100, or 200, bring game day to your house with Jimmy the Beef Guy. The catering packages come with the beef, the gravy, the peppers, the bread, everything you need. 2 convenient locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. Skip the ordinary and bring the beef. Jimmy the Beef Guy, Chicago flavor, Southwest Florida style. Call today or visit jimmythebeefguy.com. Tell him Miller and Moulton.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Left Twix. A guy gets fired at Arkansas and you want him to get the head job at Florida? I like Sam, and I don't think Sam had a real chance at Arkansas because they're not all in on NIL because they spend a lot of money on basketball and baseball and softball and track as well. But I'd hire Sam Pittman as an O-line coach. I'd hire Ed Orgeron as a defensive line coach if I was Florida. If I'm at home there, Damon Jones reportedly leaked information to bettors about LeBron. But LeBron is not involved in any way. But reportedly, Jones knew whether or not he was injured and gave that information to bettors.
And on the LeBron thing, he gave him wrong information because one of the times they said he wasn't going to play, he played and they won. And that's where they got him. I don't think Lane would leave for LSU. I think if he were to leave, I think it's the Florida job. And I don't think he's taking it. Others think he is. I've always thought in my gut that he's staying. I thought Bud Elliott made an excellent point that Ole Miss can't recruit high school kids. And in order to win a natty, you have to be able to work the portal and recruit high school kids. You can do that at Florida much better than you can do it at Ole Miss, obviously.
More consideration for what, Left Twix? He would get consideration for the Oklahoma job because he led him to a national title there as a quarterback.
It's funky. 2 days in a row, each computer here. The internet works. Like the internet's been rock solid on the computer you're on. It literally just went out on the other one. So I had to restart everything. And with that 2-factor authentication, having to do a show, type in a password, answer a phone, press a button, and do a segment all at once, that was tricky yesterday. That was a fun little task. I'm not going to lie.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the bonus hour on a Football Friday.
Football Friday.
Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. What's your crystal ball tell you about what transpired yesterday? Before we get back to the games and the World Series and what have you, do you think this is a one-off? I mean, this does involve the mob.
No, I don't
families.
think it's a one-off because, David, it's been proven time and time again, not just athletes, but people are stupid. They just are. People are dumb, or they think they're too smart. They think they're above the law, and more athletes are going to put themselves in spots where they're helping out a buddy. And look, if Rozier just told, let's just say he was telling one friend, and the guy was going to bet because he needed to make a couple $1,000. The problem is word always gets out. Whenever they do this, people cannot keep their mouths shut. And all of a sudden, there's $200,000 bet on prop bets. And red flags go up everywhere. So I don't think that it's possible for it to end. You know, Vegas has been great at catching these irregularities in gambling for a lot of years. And they'll continue to catch them. And the one thing that, you know, Adam Silver, when talking about being able to catch those that are trying to do this, that he was right about, even though it looks like he's got egg on his face, that he was talking about how good they were at it on Tuesday, and the FBI comes out on Thursday and busts a player and a coach, is that when you're betting on a phone, they know who you are and where you bet from instantly. These little things, the computers we walk around with, they know where you are all the time. The man knows where we are, David, if they want to. So, no, I don't think it's a one-off, but I think it will continue to be more times, 99 times out of 100 or 90, at least 90% of the time, they're going to catch the people that are doing it because the people that are doing it aren't smart enough or at some point get too cocky.
If I was running a league, I really would want to eliminate prop betting. Now, the league can't. and each state regulates its own gambling rules. Now, leagues and the NCAA have lobbied states to ban certain bets. Like, I believe 15 states don't allow prop betting on college athletes. The NBA, I think, has, and this is a very small, concession by the big time gambling folks, but I guess the NBA has said to the gambling folks, don't do prop bets on players on short-term contracts. I guess, I don't know, the incentive that the player has to, playing for a contract, I don't know, but it's state by state, and I don't know if people want the federal government getting involved. I don't know if they could and whether or not it would stand up in court or whether or not state attorney generals would file suit, what have you. But if I was running a league, particularly baseball and the NBA, I would want to eliminate prop betting because I think those two sports and those specific forms of betting are where they're most vulnerable for things to go horribly wrong.
I don't watch a lot of local baseball and NBA because the system I have, I don't have the Florida network, but I watch a lot of Red Wings hockey. That's just my team. They do a prop bet parlay every game that's sponsored. Every game.
Right.
Every game. I imagine most of the local networks are doing it because they're sponsored. So until the teams quit taking the money from the gambling companies, I don't think they have the right to tell the gambling companies what to do.
Well, my
Can't
guess
have one without the other.
Well, you could, but you might not get as much money. Like, here's also something, like, I'm not a prop bet guy, although I have to admit, my son-in-law and I are having a lot of fun this football season. He said, hey, I want to do a prop bet every Sunday in the NFL about scoring touchdowns. You give me a player you think is going to score a touchdown. I'll pick a player. Okay, I'll place the bet because he gambles, a little bit of money. He doesn't have much. So he places those $1 and $3 and $5 bets. And I have to admit, Mark, I have successfully picked a player every week to score a touchdown.
Thanks for sharing. 1 and 4 last week. Can't get Moulton to help me out.
Well, right. Listen, I didn't help myself out. By the way, he's screwed up twice. The guys he's picked who didn't score that week. So we've won some money. He's winning the money, by the way. I'm not seeing any of it. Okay, so, but anyway, I don't play prop bets, yet I found this one fun, probably because of the family connection. I would love to know from someone in the industry, what percentage of bets these days are prop versus just picking point spreads?
All right, we do this NFL picks here normally, so I don't need any of your insight on any games because we've got a limited amount of time. You're +5. You're trying to drag me down and hold your lead in this after whooping my butt the last 2 weeks. Jets and Cincinnati. Who you got?
Of course, the Bengals.
All right, Buffalo at Carolina. You took Carolina in the points. Do you have enough guts to take them straight up?
No.
San Francisco and Houston. Who do you like?
Houston. They're playing for their season. And I'll go a step further. I think D'Amico Ryans is ultimately coaching for his job this week. Not that he'll get fired next week, but at the end of the year, he'll get replaced.
I'm going to take San Francisco because I think Houston's in trouble. The Giants are at Philly. Can they do it again?
No.
Yeah, I'm with you. I like Philadelphia. Cleveland at New England. Big number in this one as well. I like the Patriots. Do you agree?
I do, although they're getting close to being due for a loss. They swept the 3-game road trip and what have you, but Cleveland just can't score unless it's the Dolphins.
Chicago is at Baltimore. You love the Bears with the points. Do they win the game?
No, because the Ravens are so desperate. But Lamar's not healthy. He may play, but he's not healthy.
I think he plays. I think Baltimore wins. We're not even going to discuss it. Atlanta's beating Miami. Okay, that's just the way it is. Tampa Bay at New Orleans. Do you give the Saints a shot?
Absolutely. Absolutely. The Bucs are an injured mess, and they can't run the ball. They could be very one-dimensional again, and Baker is really banged up. I think that Tampa wins close.
I think Ibuka goes off in this game. Give me Tampa Bay. Dallas at Denver. I took Denver and laid the 3.5. I'm obviously taking them straight up. Can the Cowboys go into Denver and win?
Can they? Sure. Will they? One team doesn't have a defense and one team does. I always take the team with a defense.
Tennessee and Indianapolis. I think this is the biggest number on the board. The Colts are like a 14.5-point favorite.
Yeah, and Tennessee's a real mess. I mean, Cam Ward now starting to get into it with the media at his weekly presser. Oof. Yeah, Colts big.
I agree. Green Bay at Pittsburgh. Aaron Rodgers against his former team. Aaron Rodgers has beaten every team in the NFL with the exception of the Packers. Does he make it all 32?
Sure, because I'm not a Jordan Love guy. I know they're the 1 seed right now in the NFC. I'm just, I don't know. I still have to be convinced.
All right, I just hope my wife's not listening. I'm going to take Green Bay because I don't trust the Pittsburgh defense. And with no Jordan Daniels, I don't give Washington a shot on Monday night against Kansas City. I can't think you disagree with that.
No, I do not. I will say, though, Jalen and that offense was not performing at a high level when he was playing. In some ways, they may be more consistent, Mark, with Mariota Monday than they would be with Daniels, but Daniels gives them the chance for the,
Well, McLaurin's finally going to play. During that time when they've sputtered, McLaurin's been out. He practiced yesterday without any problems. Both he and Deebo Samuel did as well. So, I mean, it's as healthy without the quarterback's not playing, but their receiving core is as healthy as it's been, I think, since week 1. David is whooping my butt straight up in the NFL. I had been winning for the first 5 weeks. David has made a big comeback. He is +5 after killing me last week. We only differ on 2 games. I'm taking San Francisco and Green Bay. David has Houston and Pittsburgh. So there you have it. Those are our NFL picks. We've talked a lot of NBA all off the court. The gambling scandal, the cards. I mean, where do I get those contacts that I can see through the cards? That's what I want to know.
A Bond movie. Otherwise, I hadn't heard of such a thing.
I hadn't either. When you were listening to that, how nuts were you taken aback by the length at which they went to cheat?
Well, apparently they were cheating 4 different ways, and I was just surprised that none of the 4 methods were ever uncovered by one of the players. That did surprise me, especially also if you're continuously losing. I mean, come on. I mean, seriously. I mean, I used to play in a regular poker game every other Friday night. I didn't get my butt kicked every single Friday night. There were times I won.
Hell, when we used to go to the poker tournaments every once in a while, you and I'd show up at a final table.
Right. So 2 of the games really interest me, Mark, though. This Buffalo-Carolina, Carolina's won 3 in a row. Bills have lost 2 in a row. Carolina at home, yet they're a big dog. All right. And the Chicago-Baltimore game fascinates me. Bears have won 4 in a row. Ravens have lost 4 in a row. And Baltimore's a big favorite.
And I'm also in on the San Francisco-Houston game. It's the season, as you mentioned, for the Texans, but what San Francisco's been doing, and they're getting healthier. World Series talk next. Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Think we only fix windows? Think again. Your local Glass Doctor Home and Business does so much more to upgrade your home. We custom build stunning shower and bath enclosures, install sleek glass doors and windows, and can bring fresh life to foggy or cracked panes. Need a glass tabletop or a statement mirror? Yep, we do that too. If it's glass and it's in your home, we're the team to call.
Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh yeah.
This is Miller and Moulton.
No, Left Twix, I don't. He's been out of it for a while, and it was his choosing. So, no.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour, about 15 minutes away from the good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when, and some final thoughts on this Friday. World Series gets underway tonight. Do you care? You've cared about the playoffs more than you have recently. Ratings are up, even though some of the matchups haven't been the sexiest. Dodgers trying to repeat. Jays trying to win their first title in 32 years. Jays are likable. Dodgers, did you see the reaction that manager Dave Roberts had yesterday?
Yes, I did.
One of the reporters asked him basically about being the villain in this series. And Roberts looked genuinely stunned that the reporter would use that word. And then, the media was kind of saying, Dave, there's a few people who think that you guys are ruining baseball. It's funny how the Jays can, come off as this, lovable, cute team in comparison to the Dodgers. And they're spending like $230 million on their payroll this year, 5th most in the league.
Well, I believe it or not, I think there's a lot of likability to the Dodgers. I know people don't like what they've spent and go that way, but what's not to like about Freeman, Ohtani, and Betts? I'm serious. I mean, they're great players. I guess if you're going to hold the interpreter thing against Ohtani and the gambling, maybe you don't like that. I know he was slumping in the playoffs. He broke out of the slump. Hopefully for him that continues. But we're watching something that hasn't happened in the sport in a century, with someone pitching and batting and doing both at an extremely high level. So as a sports fan, David, can you help me with what's not likable about Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts, and Shohei Ohtani? Because I think they're really likable.
I agree. Individually, they have a lot of likable players. Don't know if Kershaw is going to be on the active roster for the World Series, but this is his swan song. Hey, don't know how many more games Max Scherzer is going to pitch, to be honest with you. And there's a very good chance that Game 4 is Max Scherzer against Shohei Ohtani. I mean, how often do you get a World Series pitching matchup in which 2 Hall of Famers are going to go at it head-to-head? Because that's the other thing, Mark, about this series. Don't know if Kershaw will play, but if so, that's a minimum of 4 Dodgers Hall of Famers. Scherzer, obviously, for the Jays. I don't think Springer, despite his playoff numbers, is a Hall of Famer. It will be interesting if 10 years from now, if Vladdy Jr. is going to be able to join his dad. He's off to a hell of a start.
So I think there's a lot to like about this World Series. Both teams can mash. I happen to, just because of where my son went to college, I've known about this Yusevich kid for a while. I've watched him pitch in college. 2 of the 3 postseason games he pitched, he was lights out.
Yep.
Lights out. The other one, he got rocked pretty good.
So what are we going to get tonight when he pitches Game 1 in Toronto? I do find it interesting they went with him in Game 1 because that means in theory he's pitching game 5 in LA. I wondered, Mark, if they were going to try to protect him and have him pitch games 2 and 6 at home.
He's got sick stuff, and he had the slider working in the series against Seattle. He didn't use it much in his second outing when he got rocked. But he's got a splitter. He's got a slider. He can pitch. I can't wait to see the rookie against 3 Hall of Famers in the first inning. That's the stuff you and I love, David. I mean, it really is.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, I will say a key maneuver that Roberts made is he did split them up at one point during the playoffs. And I think he moved Freeman into the 4-hole and moved Teoscar Hernandez up and mixed it up just a little bit. And it paid dividends. But yeah, I mean, the Dodgers are likely going to start with 3 Hall of Famers in the top of the first against a 22-year-old who started the year in A-ball.
Think about that. That's heady stuff for this kid. It's the World Series, by the way. I mean, he was pitching in Dunedin.
Correct.
To start the year.
Yep. In the Florida State League.
And now he's pitching game 1 of the World Series.
Right. Blake Snell back in the World Series. Good for him. We'll see if Dave Roberts will leave him in if he gets into a tight spot, as opposed to his manager 5 years ago.
It was just pointed out to me by an avid baseball fan that has my phone number, just said quite frankly, the Dodgers have way more patience than the Yankees when it comes to their hitters. True. But I'll counter with strike 1 means a hell of a lot no matter who you're playing.
Forget who it was who said, what's the most important pitch in baseball? And his answer was strike 1. Don't know if it was Jim Palmer or it was Earl Weaver to Jim Palmer, but yeah. The Dodgers are 9-1 in the playoffs. The Dodgers, once they got their pitching healthy, remember, Snell didn't pitch the first half of the year. Glasnow missed half a season. All right. They babied Ohtani and didn't pitch him the first half of the year.
Mookie Betts was awful for 3.5, 4 months.
Yeah, awful.
Awful. This is a Hall of Fame player that couldn't hit. And he found it, August?
They called J.D. Martinez and said, listen, I know you're kind of retired. You still want to play. Could we hire you for a few weeks for you to kind of be Mookie's hitting coach? He's struggling for the first time in his career. What do you see? And he got Mookie back on track. I wonder if it's going to lead to him getting a full-time job with an organization for next year. Remember, we got 8 managerial openings. Don't know how you couldn't put them on your staff.
Do I think the Dodgers are going to win? Of course I do. But I don't think it's as easy as everybody else does. Everybody thinks this is another, 4 or 5 game series. I'm hoping that it's not. I'd like to see this get back to Toronto. I would take the Dodgers in 6.
LA and Toronto played 3 times in the regular season. It was in the first half of August. All 3 games were in LA. The Dodgers took 2 out of 3. The Dodgers starters were really good. Kershaw threw 6 one-run innings. Blake Snell threw 5 shutout innings. And Glasnow threw 5 2/3 of 2-run ball. They got to the bullpen to win the Glasnow start. They were losing when Glasnow left the game, did the Jays, but they scored 3 runs in the final 3 innings against the bullpen. Mark, to me, that's the series. I don't think Toronto is going to be leading many games at the start of the 6th or 7th innings. But can they beat the weakness of the Dodgers?
Well, the other part, I just said that the Dodgers, my buddy said the Dodgers have more patience than the Yankees. That's right. But will the Jays have patience at the plate? Can they make Snell? Can they make Yamamoto go deep into the pitch counts, get them deep? Or do they go deep into the game like they did last series? Because if that happens, then it's over for the Jays.
Would love to see the Jays win game 1 because the Jays have come from behind in a series to win. The Dodgers have yet to trail in the playoffs.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000 depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
They've cut the nets, they've raised the banners, and now they're headed to Fort Myers. Michigan State, North Carolina, and other top programs take the court in the Skechers Fort Myers Tip-Off this Thanksgiving week. Legendary programs, championship traditions, college basketball's biggest names, live at Suncoast Arena. Tickets are selling fast. Get yours now at FortMyersTipoff.com/go. That's FortMyersTipoff.com/go.
For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to NolanAgency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or NolanAgency.com.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Miller and Moulton, wrapping things up, not just on a football Friday, but for the week. It is the great time of year. We've got it all going. NBA, NHL, the World Series, college and pro football, whatever it is you're into, you have some of it near every night going on right now. We do have a couple of poll questions. We actually have a bunch because we had the Shoeless Joe's poll questions from earlier this week. And it looks like for the 1 o'clock game, Giants and Eagles will be the game getting the volume at Shoeless Joe's Sports Cafe. That's the overwhelming choice there. And Cowboys Broncos is getting the 4 o'clock window, beating out the Bucks and Saints. Wear your jersey, get great deals on Bud Light. Shoeless Joe's Sports Cafe in the Bell Tower Shops, proud sponsor of Miller and Moulton. Our poll questions today are about gambling and greasy food. With widespread legalized gambling, is it good or bad for sports? Good, the books can catch the odd bets. Bad, more normalcy leads to more problems. Good had been out doing bad all day long, but not anymore. 52-48 that it's bad for sports. And pizza is far and away your favorite greasy food, beating out burgers at this point. Wings with a slight edge on bacon for 3 and 4.
It's that time again, nearing the end, but not quite there yet. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
Today was the day when, brought to you by the Fort Myers Tip-Off College Hoop all week long of Thanksgiving week. Michigan State and North Carolina headline the field, but there are 8 men's teams in 2 divisions. There are 8 women's teams. Games begin Monday, go all the way through Saturday. For more information, FortMyersTipoff.com, FortMyersTipoff.com. We start today in 1857. That the oldest existing club still playing football, Sheffield FC, is founded in Yorkshire, England. It's now based in Dronfield. Started in 1857. Today in 1929, Black Thursday. The Dow drops nearly 13%, marking the start of the stock market crash of 1929. Capone sentenced to 11 years in prison for tax evasion today in 31. The United Nations started today in 1945 when the charter comes into effect. 2 things happened in 62. One nearly started World War III. Soviet ships approach, but stop short of the U.S. blockade of Cuba during the Cuban Missile Crisis. And the second one, well, a lot more fun. James Brown gives an unbelievable performance that was recorded at the Apollo. James Brown, live at the Apollo, would be released after the first of the year. It was the first breakthrough album of his career and a step towards his crossover into the mainstream pop world. Texas Stadium opened today in 71, and the Cowboys whooped up on the Patriots 44-21. Today in 79, and I apologize because I was going to do more research on this story and things got crazy, but Billy Martin punches a marshmallow salesman, which would result in him being fired by the New York Yankees. Who didn't Billy Martin punch? Today in 92, the Jays get their first, beating the Braves 4-3 in Game 6. Pat Borders, your MVP for the Toronto Blue Jays. The Concorde made its final commercial flight today in 2003. Today in 2006, it all started for Taylor Swift. She released her self-titled debut album. It would become the longest chart-running album of the 2000s, doing 157 weeks on the album chart. And today in 2021, Tom Brady becomes the first quarterback to record 600 touchdown passes when he hit Mike Evans during the first quarter of the Bucs beating the Bears 38-3. Y.A. Tittle and the Big Bopper would have celebrated birthdays today. Bill Wyman, bass player for the Stones, is 89. Actor Kevin Kline, 78. One of the great mustaches in pro sports. Harold Snepps, one of my favorite Red Wings when he played for Detroit. Snepsy is 71. Golfer and commentator for golf, Ian Baker Finch, is 65. Soccer star Wayne Rooney is 40. Drake is 39. Jalen Ramsey, 31. Jalen Brown, 29. And Amara St. Brown is 26 years old today.
Time to see life a little bit differently. Here's Mark Miller with the good, the bad, and the ugly. What do you got, Mark?
We go to Arkansas today. We go there a lot for this. I think I want to go to this place. I think I want to dig for diamonds. Dewey White and his wife spent 2 days at the crater of Diamond State Park in Arkansas, and the Indiana man pulled out a 2.71 carat white diamond. I mean, it's the fourth largest diamond registered at the park this year. Of course, they don't give me what it's worth. For the bad, we go to Ann Arbor, Michigan. And not because U of M is there. You know what great respect I have for that university. And hell, a Zingerman's Deli sandwich is just fantastic. But a fire started because of an animal nest inside of a kitchen exhaust fan. Apparently, in an apartment, firefighters were called to put out the fire that was traced to an animal nest inside a kitchen exhaust fan. Over time, the nesting material accumulated grease, probably from all the burgers and pizza we've been talking about, and heated up enough to ignite. Damage was limited due to the quick actions of the fire department. And finally, the ugly. We bring it back home to Naples, where 72-year-old George Kuzma was in the emergency room at Physicians Regional. He was yelling at staff members. A nurse called for someone to escort him out. The person escorting Kuzma out stopped multiple times on the way out because Kuzma was yelling at people leaving the hospital. And he had to kind of help him and nudge the back to get Kuzma to leave. When they left the hospital, the 72-year-old went after the man who was walking him out. The escort said he placed his arm out to try to separate himself from Kuzma. That's when Kuzma hit him in the face multiple times. The victim, acting in self-defense, said he hit Kuzma multiple times as well. Deputies showed up. Kuzma denied being the instigator in the fight, but staff members reporting that he had been acting belligerently gave Kuzma treatments for his injuries, and then he was arrested in a charge of on battery of hospital personnel. And that is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, Friday, October the 24th, and it's brought to you, as always, by the Cape Coral Police Department. Cape Coral Police Department is hiring new officers. Great pay, great benefits, opportunities for overtime. Who wouldn't want it? And you go nowhere else but capecops.com, capecops.com. I don't have the enthusiasm to do capecops.com. I can't. I guess I can, but I feel like I'm stealing something from David. All right, lots going on tonight. World Series Game 1, Snell and Yusevich. Snell has a .86 earned run average in 3 games, 21 innings so far. Yusevich 2-1. He's been brilliant in 2 games, was rocked in the other. The Dodgers are -150 on the money line. Blue Jays +125 in that one. College football tonight. We've got an ACC game. Cal at Va-Tech. Va-Tech actually a 6.5-point favorite. North Texas is in Charlotte. Charlotte's a bad football program in the American. North Texas, 25.5. They're favored by in that one. And late, Boise at Nevada. Boise, the best team in the Mountain West. They're a 21.5-point favorite in that game. In the association, huge night of games going on. The Magic are hosting the Hawks, where the Magic are a 2.5-point favorite. The Heat on the road in Memphis. Memphis, a slight favorite in that one. Knicks and Celtics play tonight. Cavs are in Brooklyn. Dallas hosts Washington. The Lakers and the T-Wolves get at it. Golden State and Portland without Chauncey Billups, who's obviously been put on leave after being arrested yesterday, and the Suns and the Clippers. Will we ever hear anything again about the scandal with the Clippers with what's gone on in the last 24 hours in the NBA? Hockey tonight, just a handful of games. Nothing really that jumps out at you. Sabres host the Leafs. Sabres have won a couple games in a row. New Jersey hosting San Jose, Washington and Columbus, and then a couple of Canadian teams, Calgary and Winnipeg. Calgary struggling mightily. Winnipeg, a monster favorite in that game. Great weekend, though, of college football. Noon games tomorrow. Ole Miss in Oklahoma. South Florida in Memphis go at it at noon. Georgia Tech playing a noon game as well, as is Indiana. They are hosting UCLA. SEC Network, Auburn and Arkansas. One of the games I picked. I think Auburn gets the dub on the road in that one. Alabama, we didn't even bring this game up. Alabama's on the road in South Carolina. They're an 11.5-point favorite in that game. And the fact that Beamer's getting grief right now has baffled both Miller and Moulton. Now, I don't think South Carolina can win that game because they're not very good at the line of scrimmage. They've got a nice quarterback, but they missed on transfers. Their line of scrimmage has been bad on both sides of the ball. I don't know right now, outside of Ohio State, Indiana's really good. I get it. But when you look at teams, who's playing better than the Crimson Tide right now? Probably should have laid the 11.5, but they are on the road, and we'll see if South Carolina can finally play a big game this season. They have a ridiculously tough schedule. What can they do against the Crimson Tide? Illinois on the road in Washington. The 23rd ranked Illini are a 4.5-point dog. Washington got whooped by Michigan. That one surprised me a bit last weekend that the game wasn't more competitive, but they're back home. We've seen the west to east, the east to west hasn't worked out well for many teams this year in the Big Ten. Texas Tech without the flying tortillas, home for Oklahoma State. BYU at Iowa State. BYU plays a bunch of tough road games the rest of the way. Can the Cougars keep on keeping on and try to get to a Big 12 title game, or is the schedule going to be too much? And Texas, after nearly losing to Kentucky last week, they go on the road to Mississippi State. Mississippi State obviously better than they were a year ago, but I don't know what they'll have. That Texas offensive line is bad. Can Texas get their offense going against a bad Mississippi State team? Michigan and Michigan State. It's a 7:30 game. People are calling for Sparty's coach's head. I don't know if Sparty's got the money to buy him out. I don't see them winning. They've not played well yet this year. They're one of the 10 worst Power 4 programs in the country. Michigan, they could take advantage of a really bad Michigan State defense. We'll see if the kid Underwood has a big game in this one. That's the college football schedule. A&M and LSU, that's the night game that we'll get on ABC. LSU at home, not sure what they have to offer, but they've got to get a win for Brian Kelly. We just talked about it. LSU still with some tough games remaining on their schedule. They're going to be dogs. They're an underdog in this one. They play Alabama. They play Oklahoma. Figure out which game they can win. But for the Tiger faithful, getting that game Saturday night against A&M would be a big boost for Brian Kelly, because there's not many signature wins, if any, since Kelly's taken over at LSU. Sunday, it is not really, to me, it's, the NFL will deliver. It's just what game that we don't see coming. Can Cleveland, with that really good defense, give the Patriots problems? Patriots have looked excellent lately. Very good defense against Cleveland. They're on a bit of a roll. Can Cleveland continue what they did offensively against the Dolphins, against New England? Miami on the road against Atlanta. The Bucs on the road against the Saints. Have a tremendous weekend. Enjoy all of the sports that are coming your way. We'll break it all down Monday morning, 6 a.m., Miller and Moulton. Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
This year during Thanksgiving week, Fort Myers takes the national stage, hosting not one but two elite women's college basketball tournaments, the Fort Myers Tip-Off and Coconut Hoops, both featuring Power 4 teams and nationally ranked programs. Few places in the country can showcase this level of talent. We're proud that Fort Myers is one of them. Don't miss your chance. For tickets, go to visitfortmyers.com/basketball. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Let's talk the big differences between Floormeisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
Besides the sales experience at the Diamond District, we offer a litany of other services. Appraisals.
We have 2 GIA certified gemologists, full-time, servicing your needs with appraisals.
We buy gold, diamonds, gemstones, Rolex watches. Repairs.
We have 3 full-time master bench jewelers.
A beautiful custom design department so that we can give you one-of-a-kind jewelry. Come see Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
This is Miller and Moulton.